An indestructible steel sword wielded by a high-level boss shatters into pieces, all from a single strike by a basic wooden training stick. Inside the game development headquarters, furious managers are screaming because this one anomaly of a player just disrupted their entire progression system. The developers are desperately scrambling to patch the server, but they are already far too late. But to understand how a guy with less than 50 cents to his name shook up a highly popular virtual reality game, we have to go back to where it all began. The announcer's voice booms over a dark, starry virtual background. The hype is already building for something massive. High above the stadium, excited fans check their screens as the announcer proclaims a single winner who managed to survive out of tens of millions of players. A quick glimpse of the defeated player shows just how brutal this competition really was. This mysterious champion completely dominated everyone to stand at the top. Standing alone on the massive stadium stage, the silhouette of the victor is finally revealed under the flashing lights of the League of Streaming Finals. The leaderboard pops up to confirm the final scores, sealing her status as a virtual reality myth who just carved her name into the real world. And there she is, player Shin Ha-yeon, the inaugural champion of the league, holding her golden trophy high with a cool expression. The announcer keeps hyping her up, telling everyone to remember her name because this is only the beginning of her journey. We get a flash of her avatars and battle reflexes. She possesses an intuition that completely defies normal human limits. Inside a high-tech gaming capsule, she transcends the concept of a normal player to become an absolute gaming legend. The broadcast wraps up by revealing she is now preparing for her official professional debut, leaving the crowd screaming for more. Wearing a sleek white jacket with her username printed on it, Shin Ha-yeon flashes a confident, knowing smile to the cameras. Fast forward 6 years, and the camera pans up to a massive skyscraper touching the clouds. Technology behind these virtual worlds has clearly reached a whole new level of sophistication. Inside a pristine laboratory, researchers gather around a futuristic white pod. A technician prepares the brand new capsule, sliding the transparent visor open for its first test run. A young man sits up from the pod, exhaling a soft breath as he tries to shake off the lingering sensation of the digital world. A woman calls out, asking him how the test run felt compared to the older models. This is OG Hai, the brilliant research director who oversaw the development of this next-gen hardware. The young tester, Seo Jun, admits that this new model feels way less dizzying than the old capsules he used to play in. He steps out of the machine and stretches his limbs, noting that his body actually feels incredibly light. Ji-hai motions for him to step closer so she can flex some of the incredible specs of this new machine. She explains that they boosted this capsule with all their latest tech to squeeze out maximum performance and realism. Thanks to these advancements, even people with physical disabilities can now play without any issues or discomfort. She looks at Seo-jun and notes that even with his unusually low synchronization rate, he can still play perfectly fine. Seo-jun is immediately intrigued, but his first question is the most relatable one. He wants to know how much this thing actually costs. Ji-hye flashes a cheerful smile and casually drops a bomb. It costs a cool 100 million won. Seo-jun goes completely blank. His soul practically leaves his body from the sheer shock of that price tag. Ji-hye smiles warmly and tells him she actually has a very special offer just for him. The scene shifts to explain what these capsules truly represent. They are devices that satisfy human desires by merging virtual reality with daily life. And of course, the single industry where people are the most hyped about this tech is gaming. Suddenly, a flaming sword slashes down from the heavens, splitting the earth apart in a spectacular show of virtual power. A player in full armor engages a terrifying giant monster, trading massive blows in a high-stakes battle. Clad in classic adventurer gear, the virtual avatar of Seo-jun stands ready to face whatever comes next. A massive system alert blares across the screen, announcing the arrival of a high-level boss monster. The sheer realism of the boss and the weight of its massive black spear make it almost impossible to believe this is just a game. The start button flashes brightly as Seo-jun readies his blade, wrapping it in a blazing aura of fire. He leaps forward with extreme speed, unleashing a series of flaming sword strikes directly at the boss. This capsule game craze took the entire world by storm, drawing in millions of players who wanted to experience this level of immersion. However, despite the epic battles and hype, his run came to an abrupt end when he collapsed inside his capsule after less than a year. A flashing red warning reveals his synchronization rate crashed to an abysmal 10%, forcing a total system disconnect. The system notes that his synchronization rate was far lower than the average human, making it impossible to move naturally in the game. Back in reality, Seo-jun is riding a bumpy city bus, staring down at his phone with a deep sigh. He scrolls through articles claiming anyone can play regardless of their synchronization rate. He feels completely scammed by the marketing. Feeling defeated and totally broke, he grumbles that spending 100 million won on a capsule would just be a colossal waste of money. He looks out the window, realizing that if he had never started playing the game in the first place, he would not even be stressed like this. He rests his chin on his hand, deeply lost in his own thoughts as the bus continues down the busy street. Looking out at the city streets, he wonders why he ever got so obsessed with virtual reality capsules. Night falls over the city, and we pan to a brightly lit apartment building where a loud, familiar voice echoes. Inside, a television monitor is broadcasting the latest professional virtual matches to a massive stadium audience. A hyped-up young man with brown hair is eating snacks on the floor while yelling at the screen. This is Kim Tae-woo, his roommate and a veteran streamer. Seo-jun walks through the front door and asks his roommate what on earth he is watching that is making him scream so loudly. Tae-woo points at the screen, explaining that he is watching the League event match, which is apparently the absolute biggest thing in gaming right now. The screen flashes a dramatic matchup graphic between Shin Ha-yeon and a challenger, showing off some seriously high production values. Seo-jun casually asks if this league thing is really that famous. Tae-woo looks at him like he just insulted his entire family. Tae-woo spins around with a wild expression, asking Seo-jun if he has completely lost his mind for not knowing about it. He explains that League of Streaming, or LOS for short, is the single most watched gaming broadcast on the entire planet. He pulls up a massive graphic showing that the stream easily pulls in over 15 million active concurrent viewers. On screen, a golden winner silhouette holding a massive trophy illustrates the legendary status of these professional players. Tae-woo goes on a passionate rant about how successful professional streamers can easily earn hundreds of millions, far eclipsing traditional pro players. The broadcast shows a cool swordsman surrounded by lightning effects, hyping up the standard meta where sword wielders reign supreme. Seo-jun rubs his chin thoughtfully, murmuring about how swords seem to be the absolute go-to choice for every top player. Tae-woo laughs and quickly corrects him. Just holding a sword does not automatically make you a god. Most amateur sword players get eliminated instantly. He dramatically clutches his chest, remembering how he tried to use a sword last year and got completely destroyed in the very first round. Tae-woo yells that even logging into the server is incredibly difficult if you are not a highly popular streamer already. Seo-jun stares up at the ceiling light, suddenly asking his roommate why he's so incredibly knowledgeable about LOS. Seo-jun glances at his glowing phone, his face shadowed as he remembers the special offer Ji Ha-ye made him back at the lab. Sitting quietly in the dark living room, he cannot help but think about her proposal and that brand new capsule. A text message on his screen confirms her offer to help him get into the tournament. She explained that a brand new capsule was added to the prize pool for the upcoming event. In his memory, Ji-ha looks right at him, promising a deal if he agrees to participate. She offered to lend him the state-of-the-art capsule completely for free until the tournament concludes. Back in the lab, she left the heavy decision entirely up to him. Returning to the present, Seo-jun casually mentions to his roommate that he is thinking of entering the league. Tae-woo instantly stops chewing his snacks. He stares in pure disbelief and asks him to repeat that. Seo-jun looks back with absolute calm and repeats that he is going to enter the tournament. He flashes a highly confident smirk, asking his roommate if he thinks he would do pretty well. Tae-woo just stares at him with his jaw completely on the floor. Tae-woo yells at him, asking if he thinks this is just some local talent show where anyone can show up and win. As Tae-woo rants, Seo-jun narrows his eyes and reflects on his own hidden nature. Deep within his mind, a beautiful ancient sword stands in a peaceful bamboo forest surrounded by falling cherry blossoms. A mysterious warrior in traditional robes stands quietly in the forest, exuding an aura of absolute martial mastery. A close-up reveals the warrior has piercing golden eyes filled with the wisdom of countless battles. In a flash of memory, the warrior stands alone against an entire army of enemies, completely surrounded but utterly unfazed. He calmly draws his blade, the cold steel reflecting his absolute focus. With a single devastating swing, he unleashes a massive wave of energy that sweeps through the entire battlefield. Standing victorious amidst the cherry blossoms, the legendary swordsman looks out over the cleared battlefield. Seo-jun looks back on these vivid memories, confirming the incredible truth. He remembers every single detail of his past life as a martial arts god. Deep down, there are some memories that resurface whether he wants them to or not, pulling him back to a dark and forgotten past. He remembers a secret black market that only operated during the rare nights of a full moon. Underneath the glowing lights of the ancient town, people were traded like simple commodities at the absolute bottom of society. In his past life, he was one of those miserable slaves, bound by thick ropes and left with nothing but despair. But then a sudden burst of shadowy red energy erupted, completely changing the course of his tragic fate. A powerful warrior armed with twin swords stood amidst the chaos, looking like an unstoppable force. The warrior gently extended a hand and asked the young beaten-up boy if he would come with him. Staring up through his messy hair, the young Seo-jun looked at his savior with a mixture of shock and disbelief. This legendary swordsman would soon become his beloved master, a figure who saved him right from the brink of absolute despair. If his master had not appeared in that dark market all those years ago, his life would have ended right then and there. Instead, his master rescued him, helping him rise from a miserable slave to a renowned martial prodigy. He carried the heavy responsibility of upholding the orthodox martial path, facing both endless envy and high expectations. Without his master guiding him, his past self, who would later be feared and revered as the sword god, would never have existed. Remembering his master brings a smile to his face, but he sighs. Being a legendary sword god in a past life means nothing if he is broke now. Taiwu pulls him back to reality by pointing at him and calling him a crazy bastard. Seojun turns around highly annoyed, demanding to know what his roommate just called him. Inside their small room, Taiwu questions if buying an expensive capsule just for the league makes any sense at all. Taiwu leans in, warning Seojun that the entry requirements for the tournament are unbelievably strict. He explains that unless you are already a reasonably popular streamer, you cannot even dream of participating. Taiwu points a finger right in his face, lecturing him about the harsh realities of the streaming industry. He asks Seojun if he seriously thinks gaining popularity and a dedicated fan base is just a walk in the park. He lists the crucial qualities of a successful streamer, starting with incredible talking skills like being able to discuss a single hamburger for an hour. Then you need god-tier game sense and top-tier skills, showing off clips of high-level gameplay to make his point. And finally, you need a great sense of humor, showing a clip of a streamer mocking and teabagging their opponent. Taiwu emphasizes that you even have to master video editing, clicking away late into the night to produce content. He pulls up a stream clip showing a new creator with 0 active viewers getting completely roasted in the chat. Even if you can somehow do all of that, tons of streamers still fail miserably simply because nobody watches them. He crosses his arms, looking completely displeased as he asks how Seojun expects to pull this off when he has never even used a capsule. Seojun rubs his chin and casually asks if there is a way to succeed based purely on raw gaming skill. Taiwu sighs deeply, realizing his persistent roommate is absolutely not going to drop this crazy idea. He admits that technically, there actually is one extremely difficult way. You have to become the absolute top of the top. A pro player so impossibly skilled that you are more popular than celebrities. Basically, you have to be better than Shin Ha-yeon. Seojun looks completely unfazed, calmly stating that he actually used a capsule once a long time ago. Taiwu laughs mockingly, asking if Seojun even listened to a single word of his explanation. Feeling like his roommate needs a harsh reality check, Taiwu slaps the bed and tells him to get inside the capsule right now. He dares Seojun to prove his skills, promising to do all the household chores from now on if Seojun is actually better than the world champion. Hearing the offer of free labor, a devious, satisfied smirk slowly spreads across Seojun's face. He looks directly at Taiwu and confidently seals the bet. Deal. The high-tech capsule whirs to life, its internal systems glowing with bright blue energy as Seojun settles in. A digital holographic alert pops up on the visor, initiating the countdown to connect to the virtual reality world. The system recognizes him as a streamer, rendering his digital avatar into the sleek virtual space. A profile menu appears, showing his newly registered ID, Jin Seojun, with exactly 0 total hours of playtime. Seojun closes his eyes inside the pod, preparing himself to dive headfirst into this unfamiliar world. In his mind, his master reminds him that everyone starts out clumsy at things they are not used to. His master tells him that if he hesitates to try new things just because he might fail, he will never achieve anything in life. A bright golden light suddenly erupts around him, marking his transition into the training lobby. Seojun opens his eyes. A sharp, incredibly focused glint replaces his usual casual expression. He looks around at the beautifully designed virtual training hall, taking in the detailed ancient architecture. A system alert pops up, announcing that his roommate has just connected to the training ground to watch him. Taiwu's avatar materializes in the room, looking around to spot Seojun standing nearby. Taiwu walks over, greeting his roommate and asking him what he thinks of the training area. He explains that the training ground is a basic built-in system installed inside the capsule to let players practice. The room is equipped with various sparring targets and a high-tech console to set the simulation difficulty. Seojun casually tosses Taiwu a sparring sword and asks if they can just fight each other instead. Taiwu quickly declines, warning him that he might end up bleeding. Intrigued, Seojun turns his attention to the holographic menu displaying the details of the sparring AI. The system explains that the sparring AI has difficulty levels ranging from level 1 all the way up to level 10. He reads that the final level mimics the current record holder, the reigning champion Shin Ha-yeon. Taiwu crosses his arms, warning him that clearing even level 9 is a massive challenge that most players cannot achieve. But before Taiwu can even finish his sentence, a sudden beeping sound rings out from the console. The holographic screen flashes red as the system announces that a dual state has been successfully created. A sleek robotic sparring dummy materializes in the center of the arena, its glowing blue eyes locking onto its opponent. Taiwu panics, yelling at Seo-jun and asking him what difficulty level he just selected without warning. Without wasting a single second, the robot lunges forward with extreme speed, drawing its blade to strike. Seo-jun easily blocks the incoming strike, the metallic clash of their swords echoing loudly through the training hall. Watching from the sidelines, Tae-woo is stunned by how easily Seo-jun deflected the fast attack. He notes that Seo-jun's relaxed stance and casual block look incredibly arrogant yet completely effective. The training robot quickly repositions, its robotic joints whirring as it prepares for a follow-up strike. It dashes forward, aiming a swift, low horizontal slash right at his legs. Seo-jun calmly steps back and swings his blade in a brilliant blue arc, completely parrying the low sweep. The clean counter-strike leaves a glowing slash across the robot's chest, instantly depleting its health bar to 0. Taiwu's eyes go wide in absolute shock, wondering if that incredibly smooth victory was just a massive fluke. The defeated robot slumps forward, its glowing blue eyes fading as the system registers the end of the round. But the sparring session is far from over. The console immediately flashes, gearing up for the next challenge. The robotic dummy is surrounded by glowing blue targeting vectors as its systems reboot with a massive power boost. The robot draws its weapon with a new level of mechanical precision, its movements significantly faster than before. It unleashes a flurry of rapid strikes, but Seo-jun dodges each blow gracefully, his movements fluid and perfectly controlled. With a quick decisive step forward, Seo-jun delivers a powerful counterslash, severing the robot's weapon arm in one clean motion. Taiwu is left completely speechless, his jaw dropping in sheer disbelief at the level of martial skill he is witnessing. The damaged robot stands frozen for a moment, unable to process the speed of the attack. The severed mechanical arm falls to the floor with a loud metallic clank right at his feet. The robot experiences a severe error, its internal sensors failing as it slowly powers down. Seo-jun stands victoriously in the fading light of the simulation, looking completely relaxed. The system screen flashes a bright red warning as the current sparring dummy completely breaks down under the damage. The holographic projection of the training dummy glitchily pixelates and dissolves into thin air. Seo-jun casually rests his practice sword on his shoulder, waiting for the system to display his final results. The holographic interface materializes, computing the battle data and generating the official clear record. A massive pop-up confirms his victory, declaring that he has officially cleared the level 9 duel in just 2 minutes and 23 seconds. Taiwu stands completely frozen, screaming in utter disbelief as he realizes the robotic opponent Seo-jun just dismantled was actually the level 9 AI. He grips his head, pointing out that if he just casually cleared level 9, the next opponent on the list is bad news. A bright red light starts to glow from the summoning portal as the system prepares the final level. The robotic eyes of the next sparring dummy flash with an intense fiery orange glow, signaling a massive jump in power. A custom high-tier combat robot materializes, wielding a double-edged training blade. It is the level 10 mimic of the champion, Shin Ha-yeon. Taiwu looks on with a sweat drop, completely overwhelmed by the crushing aura of the final level AI. Meanwhile, Seo-jun simply tightens his grip on his practice sword, his eyes narrowing as he prepares to face the virtual representation of the world's top player. Back at the research laboratory, Ji-hae's assistant runs up, questioning why she went so far to help this random test subject. Ji-hae turns around with a calm smile, acting completely innocent as if lending him the next-gen hardware is no big deal. Her assistant insists that a free capsule loan is way too generous, and they really did not have to go that far for him. The assistant points out that judging by his profile, he looked like a guy who would never even make it into the competitive league. Ji-hae checks her clipboard and admits she simply could not stand watching pure raw talent go to waste. Stunned, the assistant looks down at his medical charts from when his synchronization rate crashed to a measly 10%. Ji-hae grins confidently, noting that his skills have actually grown far beyond whatever limits he had in his past files. The assistant sighs and admits that while she might be right, qualifying for the tournament is still a massive long shot. Ji-hae looks over at the row of active pods, her eyes sparkling with deep anticipation. She softly whispers that if he actually manages to make it into the main tournament, she honestly believes he could win the whole thing. Back inside the digital training arena, a heavy silence hangs in the air as the level 10 combat simulation prepares to begin. Suddenly, the sound of blades clashing rings out, signaling the start of the final challenge. Taiwu stands on the sidelines with his arms crossed, preparing to watch this high-stakes combat trial. He quickly opens the spectator menu, a thought popping into his head as his hand hovers over the recording button. He gets a devious grin, sweating slightly as he realizes that if Seo-jun actually pulls off a win here, this footage is absolute content gold. Down on the arena floor, the level 10 mimic dashes forward, ready to trade blows with the newcomer. The AI leaps high into the air, unleashing a series of incredibly fast, acrobatic vertical slashes. Seo-jun reacts instantly, his sword emitting a bright blue streak as he parries the high-altitude assault. He uses the momentum of the clash to propel himself backward, landing gracefully on the arena floor. The level 10 AI recovers instantly, sliding low to launch a lightning-fast sweep. Seo-jun watches its perfect stance, acknowledging that Shin Ha-yeon's combat talent is indeed highly impressive. He recalls her image from the champion's broadcast, realizing she is easily the most talented fighter he has seen since coming to the modern world. In his mind, she is more talented than almost anyone he encountered even in his past life as a martial arts god. Well, except for one specific person, of course, which would be himself. Taiwu panics as he watches the AI charge forward again, yelling to warn Seo-jun about the incoming attack. But instead of blocking, Seo-jun intentionally lets the AI's blade strike him directly across his chest. Taiwu facepalms, sighing heavily as his roommate takes a hit from the very first serious attack. He yells at him, asking how he expects to keep up with the world champion's combat AI if he is taking hits like that. Seo-jun casually slides his hand over his chest where the blade made contact, checking his status. His training sword falls to the wooden floor with a hollow clatter, leaving Taewoo completely dumbfounded. Seo-jun calmly notes that since this is virtual reality, the strike did not actually hurt him at all. He stands there adjusting his posture while his health bar registers a minor tick of damage. Taiwu stares at him with a mix of shock and irritation, asking if he seriously let himself get hit on purpose just to test the pain settings. The combat robot wastes zero time, its visor flashing bright pink as it readies its double blades for another round. It launches forward with a massive burst of pressure, leaving a shockwave on the arena floor as it closes the distance. Moving faster than before, the level 10 AI dashes forward, leaving after images in its wake as it aims directly for his neck. A massive horizontal slash cuts through the air, creating a bright white trail of speed. The robot's visor glows intensely, while Seo-jun's eyes lock onto the blade, predicting its exact path in milliseconds. Seon-jun tilts his head slightly, narrowly evading the high horizontal swing with effortless grace. He steps into the blind spot of the strike, raising his practice sword to prepare his own counterattack. The sword in his hand glows with a brilliant golden light as he prepares to unleash a proper high-level martial strike. The robot reacts to the sudden surge of energy, its defense protocols flashing red in response. A loud warning tone beeps through the system as the AI struggles to keep up with his changing speed. With sharp, deadly focus, Seo-jun prepares to end the duel in a single motion. He delivers a swift horizontal parry, redirecting the robot's secondary blade with incredible force. The force of the parry creates a massive shockwave, sending a blast of wind across the entire training hall. The AI is knocked off balance, its defense completely shattered as its health bar registers a significant loss. The system sounds another warning as the robot slides backward, trying to recover its footing. Seo-jun stands still, casually asking the machine if it is done attacking and inviting it to come at him again. Seeing that the AI is hesitating, he smiles slightly and decides to take the initiative instead. In a flash of speed, he closes the distance, his movements completely baffling to the spectator. He unleashes a barrage of strikes, his blade moving in a blur as it completely overwhelms the level 10 defenses. Their swords clash in a spectacular crisscrossing display of blue and white light. The intense friction between their blades creates a massive shower of sparks, lighting up the entire room. Taiwu watches the battle unfold with wide eyes, completely unable to believe a human player could move like this. With a resounding crack, the training robot's blade splits in half under the immense pressure of Seo-jun's strike. The shattered pieces of the mechanical sword scatter across the arena floor as the robot's defensive posture breaks. Seo-jun gives a relaxed, confident smile, showing he has not even broken a sweat during the entire fight. The robot falls to its knees, completely defeated as the system marks the end of the final challenge. Seo-jun points his practice sword at the kneeling AI, cheekily telling the machine it might need to train for another 80 years before it can beat him. The robot's eyes completely fade to black as its digital avatar slowly dissolves into particles of light. A massive system notification pops up in the air, officially confirming his victory in the final duel. Taiwu stands frozen in place, a look of pure shock and horror plastered across his face. Seo-jun casually reminds him that he just beat the level 10 simulation, meaning it is time to pay up. The system console registers the historic event, displaying a notification that the reigning owner of level 10 has officially changed. The scene transitions to the next day, showing the apartment building under a clear, bright blue sky. Inside, Taiwu is wearing an apron and cleaning gloves, grumbling as he picks up food while Seo-jun relaxes on the couch. Seo-jun eats his noodles, complaining that they are not even cooked right, and tells Taiwu to make sure he vacuums the living room later. He points out that the laundry still is not folded either, completely enjoying his victory as the new king of the household. Taiwu angrily sweeps the floor with a broom, grumbling under his breath about how this deal is completely unfair. Meanwhile, Seo-jun stands up, noting that he already installed the streaming software yesterday and is ready to get started. He walks over to the sleek capsule, preparing to log in and officially set up his very first stream. He lies back down inside the pod, closing his eyes as the internal systems start to boot up. A brilliant golden light surrounds his vision as he connects directly to the streaming platform. He opens his eyes inside the digital lobby, taking a deep breath of the virtual air. He finds himself standing alone in a massive sleek white hallway that serves as his streaming dashboard. He looks around the sterile empty space, wondering what this bizarre virtual lobby is actually for. A system prompt reveals that this is his personal streaming lobby, where creators can interact with viewers before a broadcast starts. A quick tutorial graphic shows examples of other popular streamers' highly decorated lobbies filled with cute decorations and fan art. Seo-jun rubs his chin, realizing how important a good lobby is for attracting and retaining active viewers. Looking at his completely blank white room, he decides he will have to properly decorate this place at some point in the future. But for now, he decides to skip the decorations and immediately fire up Treadle, the virtual world's top platform. The system interface flashes, displaying the top trending streams and live games across the entire network. The system reminds him of his current goal: build a large enough following as a streamer to qualify for the main tournament. A notification pops up, warning him that his stream is about to go live shortly, and asks him to select his starting game. He selects his first game, Dawn of the Assassination Squad. The game loads, displaying a stunning high-definition panoramic shot of an ancient Victorian-style city at night. The level rendered perfectly, showing off a beautiful glowing fountain in the center of a bustling town square. The system notes that this highly anticipated game pulled in over 2 million active viewers on its official launch day. Even a week after its release, the overall hype surrounding the game still has not died down. He stands atop a high Gothic clock tower overlooking the city, noting that the stealth elements are perfect for a beginner stream. He launches a grappling hook into the darkness, using the high-tension wire to swing gracefully across the rooftops. The grappling hook lands with a silent metallic click, securing his position on the next ledge. Clad in a dark assassin cloak, his digital avatar stands ready to begin his very first stealth mission. He pulls himself up over the stone wall, keeping a sharp eye out for any patrolling guards. High up on the castle battlements under a full moon, he takes a moment to survey the entire patrol route below. Standing in his cool assassin outfit, he looks like a seasoned professional, ready to make a massive splash. He whispers a quiet, "All right then," to his non-existent chat, preparing to start the action. He flashes a confident, slightly mischievous grin, asking the empty stream if they should begin. The stream start button flashes brightly, officially launching his channel into the vast virtual world of streaming. Seo-jun stares at the screen, looking at the incredibly catchy stream title that his roommate cooked up for him. The title reads, "First-time streamer, first-time player. Anyone want to coach a total newbie? It is simple, but perfect for baiting people to watch." A quick flashback shows Taiwu stuffing his face with snacks, proudly declaring that as his senior in streaming, he knows exactly how to pull in viewers. Back in the game, the wind howls through the dark city streets as Seo-jun's character gets ready to move. He looks out over the rooftops of the Victorian-style town, completely mesmerized by the beautiful atmosphere. Down below, a Victorian woman with an umbrella walks down the dark street under the glowing gas lamps. He takes in the sights and notes that the developers really did an amazing job with the historical setting. Staring at his own hands, he is incredibly impressed by how realistic the game feels under this next-gen hardware. He steps forward onto the stone roof, only to suddenly hear footsteps and a voice calling out his character's name. A beautiful blonde female assassin named Christina materializes nearby, her profile loading as she speaks her automated lines. She turns to him and asks if their mission has ever been anything but highly dangerous. Realizing the game has an auto-dialogue system running, Seo-jun listens closely, noting that her voice is surprisingly realistic. A gorgeous poster of the game appears on screen, introducing the primary characters and setting a very cool mood for the tutorial. Christina looks at him, warning him that if he intends to take a life during this mission, he needs to be prepared to risk his own. He smiles and agrees, keeping up with the automated script of the scene. She looks down with a serious expression, warning him to be extremely careful because the guards might already be onto them. Placing a hand on her shoulder, his character tells her not to worry, advising her to head to the tavern first and wait for him there. Christina reaches out, handing him a sealed letter containing the details of their assassination target. Staring at the letter, he reads the classic Assassin's Creed written on the front. "Nothing is true. Question everything." He flashes a devious smirk, muttering under his breath that the game is officially starting as the tutorial shifts into gameplay mode. Pulling out his grappling hook, he gets ready to make his first move across the rooftops. The official game title card pops up on screen, signaling the start of the first chapter. With a swift jump, he leaps off the high balcony, soaring through the dark night sky. He uses his grappling hook to catch a ledge, swinging down toward the streets with extreme precision. Landing on a low balcony, he immediately rolls forward to absorb the impact of the long fall. He drops down to the street below, landing on his hands and knees in a perfect superhero pose. His eyes glow with a sharp golden light, scanning the area as a system prompt alerts him that the tutorial's auto mode has ended. The system confirms that the automated movement has concluded, handing full manual control over to him. Seo-jun blinks, slightly confused as he gets used to the manual controls and the feeling of the digital avatar. He looks around the narrow alleyway, realizing that if he heads in this direction, there is actually no path forward. He looks at the dead-end wall in front of him, muttering about how poorly optimized this starting route is. A helpful system prompt flashes on screen, instructing him to use the nearby pipes to climb up to the roof. He looks up at the massive slippery metal pipes running along the stone wall, wondering how on earth he's supposed to grab onto that. But as soon as he places his hand on the metal pipe, his virtual avatar grips it with absolute ease. To his surprise, his body moves automatically, scaling the wall like a professional free climber with almost zero effort. He leaps over the ledge and lands on the rooftop, his avatar automatically doing a cool spin that leaves him completely amazed. He looks down at his hands, realizing that his body just moves naturally without him having to think about it. The level of immersion is truly insane. He stretches his arms and knows that he really needs to stay loose and relaxed during these automated platforming movements. A loud chime rings out, announcing his first official tutorial quest, an assassination mission targeting Count Ettore. The detailed quest log reveals that the Count is a corrupt high-ranking noble, and the only clear condition is his immediate death. He reads the description, summarizing the mission simply. He just needs to kill some guy called Ettore. A mini-map pops up in the corner of his vision, and he notes that this interface is actually incredibly helpful for directions. The next system prompt instructs him to use the hanging rope nearby to descend safely to the lower balcony. Holding the rope tight, he slowly walks through the basic steps of the climbing tutorial, noting how incredibly manageable it is. But as he hangs there, his legendary curiosity gets the better of him, and he wonders what would happen if he just fell halfway down. A cartoonish mental thought pops up, showing his chibi self thinking that dropping halfway would be way faster. With a quick release, he lets go of the rope, falling straight down toward the hard stone balcony. He lands with a loud crash, the impact shaking the screen as a puff of dust explodes around him. He rubs his sore head, groaning in pain as he slowly stands up, admitting that his quick shortcut did not really work out as planned. Suddenly, a holographic stream notification flashes in his vision, catching him completely off guard. He looks at the side of his screen, seeing a tiny chat window filled with active viewers roasting his clumsy fall. He blinks in shock, realizing that he actually has 4 active viewers watching his stream right now. He keeps forgetting he is live. He turns his head and apologizes to his chat, admitting that he was too focused on the game to notice the messages. He reads the wild usernames in his chat, wondering why on earth modern internet users pick such bizarre names for themselves. He reflects on Taiwu's words about the secret to growing a successful stream. Taiwu advised him never to get hung up on the viewer count, emphasizing that the single most important thing is human connection. The reason these 4 people chose his small stream over a massive popular channel is because they want a genuine direct connection with the creator. In a giant stream chat, your messages fly by so fast that they get buried instantly, making it impossible to actually chat with the streamer. Back on screen, a viewer posts a message asking if the streamer is actually a total newbie at VR games. Another viewer confirms it, noting they checked his profile and saw his account was literally created just 2 days ago. The chat keeps roasting him, laughing at his clumsy fall and teasing him about his rookie mistakes. He ignores the teasing and focuses on his next destination, Count Ettore's massive imposing estate looming under a blood-red moon. He stands on a nearby roof, assessing the distance to the Gothic mansion and trying to figure out his first move. He wonders if he should just walk straight through the front gate, prompting his chat to immediately flood with warning messages. He pulls out the sealed letter Christina gave him, carefully reading the contents to plan his infiltration. The letter states that the Count is located in the second-floor bedroom, heavily guarded by about 20 elite soldiers. He looks down at his starting weapons, drawing his practice sword with a sharp metallic ring. A holographic display reveals his equipped gear, a basic wooden practice stick and some simple leather gauntlets. His chat points out that those are literally the worst low-level default tutorial weapons in the entire game. But Seo-jun simply grips his practice stick, confidently muttering that this basic gear should be more than enough to take down some guards. He tells his chat he is going in as he leaps off the roof, completely ignoring all the stealth advice. His chat goes into full panic mode, screaming at him to stop and calling him an absolute lunatic. Seo-jun drops down directly in front of the guards, completely unfazed by their massive size and heavy armor. He asks his chat why walking through the front gate is such a bad option, prompting a viewer to explain what a rampage run is. The system explains that if you get spotted during a stealth mission, all nearby guards get a massive permanent power boost. Because of this, normal players are forced to use stealth, hiding in the shadows to avoid setting off the alarm. But every once in a while, legendary veteran players try to go straight through the front gate with their weapons blazing, a challenge known as a rampage run. This optional challenge is considered the absolute hardest feat in the entire game, usually resulting in instant death. Taiwu's stream overlay pops up, emphasizing just how impossibly difficult a successful rampage run actually is. Seo-jun looks at the warning and asks if that means it is literally impossible to clear the tutorial this way. A viewer replies, noting that some highly skilled pro players tried for over 10 hours before completely giving up and finishing the level normally. Not a single player in the entire hardcore gaming community has ever posted a successful clear of a tutorial rampage run. The chat notes that you would need to possess Shin Ha-yon level reflexes and combat control to even stand a slight chance. Hearing the name of the world champion again, a wide competitive smile slowly spreads across Seo-jun's face. He tightens his hood and looks directly at the approaching squad of armored guards, ready to find out just how hard this really is. The red blood moon hangs over the dark mansion, creating an incredibly tense atmosphere. Seo-jun admits that up close, the creepy pressure of this tutorial level is honestly no joke. He decides to keep going anyway, remembering that letting viewers underestimate you is actually a classic part of entertainment. He opens his chat window, which is already flooded with comments predicting his instant death on this rampage run. He is surprised to see 3 more viewers join, realizing that stirring up a little drama is indeed a highly effective way to grow. He smiles and steps directly onto the mansion grounds, completely ignoring the stealth mechanics. Instantly, 2 heavily armored guard NPCs spot him, their eyes glowing red as they prepare to attack. One of the guards shouts out, demanding to know who is there as they draw their swords and charge straight toward him. His chat goes wild with, "I told you so" messages, fully expecting him to get absolutely wrecked right here. Seo-jun calmly stands his ground, confidently telling his viewers that he already has a perfect feel for the combat. The chat trolls him in response, laughing at his confidence and betting he will be dead in under 3 seconds. One of the guards leaps into the air, raising his massive claymore to bring down a devastating strike. But instead of evading, Seo-jun raises his basic practice stick to meet the massive steel sword directly. With a massive shockwave, his wooden stick parries the heavy strike, sending a flash of red energy across the screen. The parry guard loses his balance and stumbles backward, completely stunned by the defense. The chat window instantly freezes up as the viewers struggle to comprehend what they just saw. A close-up of Seo-jun's hand reveals the absolute precision of his grip as he easily handles the heavy impact. He delivers a swift follow-up poke with his practice stick, dealing a clean 1,000 points of damage and instantly taking out the guard. The second guard screams in pure rage, charging forward completely blindly. He launches a swift horizontal slash, but Seo-jun easily parries it with a sharp metallic ring. A spectacular shockwave erupts as he deflects the strike, sending his practice stick straight through the guard's defenses. His chat is in complete shambles now, with viewers screaming that he just pulled off a double parry. A viewer comments that a double parry on tutorial guards is absolutely insane, while another tries to claim it was just a fluke. Stunned by the comments, Seo-jun blinks, his mind going completely blank. He watches the second guard dissolve into particles of light after taking a clean 1,000 damage. Seo-jun turns to his streaming chat with a deeply confused expression and asks them what exactly a parry is. A viewer posts a massive row of laughing emojis, completely unable to believe he pulled that off without even knowing what the mechanic is. He scratches his head, genuinely curious about what this parry term means. His chat explodes with comments calling him a natural-born genius and an absolute monster for doing it subconsciously. He sighs, completely done with the hyping, and asks his chat to stop fighting and just explain the mechanic to him. His chat begrudgingly starts explaining, though they tease him for his hilariously relaxed attitude. He listens closely, wanting to understand how the modern combat mechanics map to his past martial arts experience. He draws some stick figures in his mind, explaining that if you time your strike perfectly against an incoming attack, you stun the enemy. His viewers note that even retired professional players struggle with the timing of the parry system in this game. Taiwu's voice echoes in his memory, reminding him that the difficulty of this tutorial level is considered pro tier. Seo-jun rubs his chin, realizing that landing a parry simply means reading the enemy's attack and moving your virtual body in perfect sync. A chibi version of him nods, finally understanding how the system works. A viewer warns him to turn back while he still can, because the next wave of guards is going to completely wreck him. He casually asks why, confidently continuing his walk up the stone path. He admits that to him, the combat in this game actually seems incredibly simple and straightforward. Another viewer joins, commenting that they are watching his movements closely and can confirm his parries definitely were not a fluke. A massive alert system warning flashes, announcing that his viewer count is steadily rising as more people join. In his mind, the silhouettes of legendary martial masters appear, reminding him of his past as the absolute top swordsman. He admits that while this virtual reality is different, at its absolute core, combat is always exactly the same. He walks up the final set of stairs, where a large squad of armored soldiers is already waiting for him. The guard captain points his sword and screams for the intruder to stop right there. Seo-jun simply tightens his grip on his practice wooden stick, his eyes focusing on the incoming squad. He confidently whispers that whatever the case is, he will just prove it with results. A guard captain charges down with a massive overhead swing, but Seo-jun easily sidesteps the strike. He slips past the blade and delivers a swift counter-thrust to the guard's side. His eyes glow with a sharp golden light, analyzing the enemy movements in slow motion. He unleashes a series of rapid spinning parries, deflecting multiple incoming strikes simultaneously with a single continuous motion. System alerts blare across the screen as a series of perfect hit prompts confirm his incredible combat accuracy. With a barrage of clean, powerful strikes, he systematically dismantles the entire guard squad in seconds. He lands another perfect parry, the shockwave of the impact blowing away the surrounding dust. A final massive hit prompt flashes on screen as the last armored guard of the squad is sent flying. A red-haired guard watches his squad get wiped out, staring at the hooded newcomer with a look of pure terror. The red-haired guard raises his weapon, but Seo-jun easily disarms him with a single effortless flick of his practice stick. The guard falls to the floor completely defeated, leaving Seo-jun standing alone in the quiet mansion hallway. Seo-jun rests his practice stick on his shoulder and smugly tells the defeated guard that if he wants to catch him, he had better bring 100 more men. His chat is in complete chaos now, with viewers screaming for backup and debating whether he is secretly a professional player. Under the red moon, he continues down the dark corridor, completely unfazed by the growing hype. He exhales a soft sigh, taking a brief moment to catch his breath. He walks down the stone corridor, his footsteps echoing softly in the quiet hall. He smiles and mutters to himself that 6 are already taken care of. His chat window displays a series of shocked comments, with viewers asking if he is seriously just a beginner. Seo-jun smiles and reminds them that they literally just watched him struggle to climb the pipes a minute ago. The chat window continues to scroll fast, with viewers calling him a veteran god-tier streamer in disguise. He looks at the spam of messages asking who he is, deciding to ignore the questions for now. A toxic viewer tries to ruin the mood, prompting his chat mod to step in and handle the situation. The system flashes a red notification confirming that the toxic user has been successfully kicked from the stream. A chibi version of him waves goodbye to the banned user, smiling as he closes the moderation window. He checks his stream stats, seeing a blue notification confirming his overall viewer engagement is steadily rising. He reflects on his performance, wondering if he is actually doing a decent job as a content creator. In his mind, he remembers his past life as the legendary sword god, a figure who stood at the absolute pinnacle of martial skill. Despite his immense talent, his past self preferred to stay hidden in the shadows, never seeking fame or recognition. He laughs at the irony, remembering how his past self used to yell at his disciples for slacking off on their training. A viewer asks him if there is a specific trick to his god, like parrying reflex. The chat is filled with desperate messages, eager to learn his secret. Seo-jun gives a thumb up and casually tells them to just remember their past lives. It is that easy. A cartoonish graphic shows his viewers getting extremely dizzy and frustrated by his completely useless advice. A viewer yells about his absolute audacity, while the rest of the chat laughs at his hilarious, chaotic explanation. Suddenly, a guard's voice echoes from down the hall, shouting that the intruder is over here. A massive squad of armored soldiers surrounds him, blocking all escape routes as a viewer comments that there is no way he can survive this. He looks at the surrounding army, a wide, excited smile spreading across his face. He turns to his streaming chat, his eyes gleaming with anticipation as the guards prepare to strike. He confidently tells his viewers to watch closely, promising to pull off a record-breaking 13 parries in a row. Back inside the estate, the remaining guards shout to mobilize and hunt down the lone intruder. The sound of heavily armored footsteps echoes as several guards march down the grand corridor. Seo-jun watches them from around the corner, calmly calculating his next move with his practice weapon. He lunges forward in a blur, delivering a swift horizontal strike that completely catches 2 guards off guard. He maneuvers past their defense, sending them crashing to the stone floor with a powerful sweep. Landing a perfect roll, he recovers his stance and turns back to face the next wave of oncoming guards. His golden eyes narrow as he tracks their movements in real time, completely focused on the battle. His streaming overlay pops up, displaying the excited comments of his viewers who are completely hooked by his performance. A guard yells in frustration, raising his sword to strike, but Seo-jun easily prepares to deflect the blow. He slides low, parrying the strike with a bright white burst of energy as he pivots behind the guard. He follows up with a series of quick blinding slashes, systematically dismantling the guard's defensive stance. The guard stands completely frozen as a massive explosion of sparks erupts around him, marking his defeat. With a dramatic sweep of his blade, Seo-jun clears the remaining enemies, leaving nothing but fading particles of light. He turns his head slightly, a small, confident smirk forming on his face as he looks toward the final corridor. On the community forums, users are starting to take notice, wondering who this mysterious new player actually is. One of the forum users looks completely stunned by the stream clip, sweating as they ask if this guy is actually a real person or a bot. They note that on the community boards, this player is starting to make a massive name for himself as an absolute hardcore fan. An old video clip shows developers explaining the game's difficulty, noting that attempting a rampage run is considered practically suicide. The clip continues, explaining how the extreme difficulty was specifically designed to challenge players and light their competitive drive on fire. Most normal challengers who attempted the run were left with nothing but deep despair and a massive game over screen. A review of the level shows a clever strategy where players manage to bypass the guards entirely by collapsing a wall. In another stream clip, a player is shown hiding behind some barrels, desperately trying to survive the high-level patrol routes. One stream chat is filled with viewers complaining about how they have been hiding in the same spot for 3 hours without seeing the boss. An exhausted streamer is shown slumping over his desk, screaming in frustration at how incredibly brutal the hell difficulty level is. The narrator explains that the community had never got to see a true top-tier player tackle a manual rampage run. But now everything has officially changed with the arrival of this mysterious newcomer. Watching the broadcast, Taiwu clenches his fist in pure excitement, realizing this is exactly the kind of legendary run he has been waiting for. He watches Seo-jun easily slip past a heavy strike, noting that he is pulling off the absolute hardest manual run in the entire game. He clenches his fist, whispering to himself that this is indeed the absolute pinnacle of gaming content. The viewer chat explodes with hype, with several users declaring that this is easily the greatest run in the entire history of the game. Back in the game, the final fallen guard dissolves into light, clearing the entire hallway of enemies. His chat window continues to spam messages of pure disbelief, trying to understand how his movements are even humanly possible. Seo-jun turns to his stream console, casually asking them why on earth they are getting so worked up over a basic tutorial. He calmly notes that all he is doing is simply dodging what needs to be dodged and parrying what needs to be parried. A viewer jokingly comments that if you do not like his incredibly casual attitude, you might as well just close the stream. He checks his status menu and is pleasantly surprised to see his viewer count and follower count have both risen to exactly 6. A massive explosion of dust and fire suddenly erupts down the corridor, shaking the entire stone structure. A holographic system message flashes on screen, officially declaring that the final tutorial boss fight has begun. Seo-jun stands ready, his cloak rustling in the wind as a massive figure emerges from the smoke of the explosion. The chat window spams questions about how he dodged that as the giant boss launches a massive ground-shattering strike. The boss, Count Atora, is shown holding a massive morning star on a chain, looking absolutely terrifying. Seo-jun dashes forward in a blur, dodging another heavy swing of the spiked ball with millisecond precision. The giant spiked morning star crashes into the floor, creating a massive shockwave that cracks the stone tiles. Seo-jun slides low under the swing, and delivers a lightning-fast counter-thrust directly to the boss's side, dealing a clean 5 points of damage. Count Ettore turns around with a dark, menacing expression, completely unfazed by the minor tick of damage. He sneers at Seo-jun, asking what on earth he is flailing at with such a weak starting weapon. Seo-jun narrows his eyes, realizing that the boss's health bar barely moved. This guy is definitely a massive damage sponge. He glances back at his chat, casually asking his viewers if they have any helpful tips on how to handle this guy. The boss swings his weapon in a wide sweeping arc, forcing Seo-jun to jump backward to escape the massive attack. Seo-jun leaps high into the air, gracefully dodging another horizontal swing of the morning star. He delivers a swift counter slash on his way down, the bright trail of his sword cutting through the air. The boss simply laughs, raising his arm to block the strike with his heavy steel bracers. He slams his weapon down, creating a massive explosion of force that sends Seo-jun sliding back across the floor. Count Ettore bellows in a booming voice, mocking him and declaring that his weak, fragile body is completely useless against him. The boss swings his weapon again, creating a green toxic aura that fills the grand corridor. Seo-jun quickly retreats, his eyes scanning his interface as a brand new notification suddenly catches his attention. A viewer warns him that once he encounters the Count, he has a strict 5-minute time limit before the mission is an instant failure. A massive holographic timer stops with exactly 4 minutes and 17 seconds remaining on the clock. He looks at the ticking clock in disbelief, asking himself when on earth that timer even showed up. The boss laughs mockingly, telling him to keep his eyes up and focus on the fight if he does not want to die. Seo-jun realizes that at this rate, there is absolutely no way he can slowly chip away the boss's massive health pool before the timer runs out. The timer continues to tick down, showing exactly 3 minutes and 42 seconds left as he desperately searches for a shortcut. A viewer comments that there is a secret trick. If you keep hitting the exact same spot on his armor, you can eventually break his defense. Seo-jun smiles and thanks them for the tip as he readies his practice weapon for a precise assault. He launches forward, his sword emitting a brilliant red aura as he aims directly for the cracked seam in the boss's armor. The strike lands with a massive impact, dealing a huge chunk of 70 damage and causing Count Atora to grimace in pain. Seeing the massive damage, his chat spams with excitement as the boss's defensive aura starts to crack. The boss growls in fury, clenching his fists and glaring at the intruder with absolute hatred. With only 2 minutes and 16 seconds left on the clock, Seo-jun knows he cannot afford to give the boss even a single moment of breathing room. He dashes forward, his blade moving in a blur as he unleashes a relentless barrage of strikes on the exact same weak spot. The boss tries to block, but Seo-jun's practice stick slams directly into his hand, forcing him to lose his grip on his weapon. Count Ettore bellows in rage, screaming at the intruder to take his filthy hands off his legendary weapon. He swings a heavy punch, but Seo-jun easily dodges the slow strike by tilting his body backward. With only 1 minute and 7 seconds remaining, the boss growls in frustration, realizing he is completely out of options. Seo-jun delivers a final devastating thrust, dealing a massive double hit of 100 and 200 damage. His chat is in complete awe, with viewers screaming in disbelief at his godlike inhuman reaction speed. The boss stumbles backward, his health bar completely depleted as a brilliant flash of red light erupts from his armor. The chat spams in celebration, confirming that the impossible tutorial boss has officially been defeated. Seo-jun lowers his weapon, taking a deep breath as the combat system officially powers down. The massive holographic timer stops with exactly 51 seconds remaining on the clock. The blood-red moon fades to a soft white light, illuminating the quiet victorious battleground. He stands in the quiet hallway of the estate, the fallen boss slowly dissolving into particles of light. A final system dialogue box pops up, displaying the Count's final defeated lines as he curses the assassin squad. The boss's voice slowly fades away as his virtual avatar completely disappears, leaving behind nothing but his legendary loot. A massive golden mission clear graphic explodes across the screen, celebrating his historic achievement. The system confirms the tutorial quest has been successfully completed with exactly 40 seconds left on the countdown timer. Back in reality, Taiwu clicks his mouse in excitement, immediately downloading the recorded stream footage of the epic run. He starts editing the video, choosing a perfect clickbait thumbnail that features Seo-jun's cool assassin avatar. He adds the perfect, highly eye-catching title, marking it as a total newbie's first game, clearing the tutorial by Perry Massacre. He smiles and hits upload, confident that the world's very first successful manual rampage run is going to absolutely break the internet. Back in his apartment, Taiwu is staring at his monitor, his eyes wide in utter disbelief at what just happened. He clicks his mouse furiously, completely blown away by the level of skill he just witnessed on his roommate's stream. He grips his head, screaming that he actually got to see a legendary first-time manual rampage run with his own 2 eyes. In the game, Count Ettore's room is filled with dust as the defeated boss slowly slumps back onto his bed. In his final breath, the corrupt Count curses the hypocritical lapdogs of the assassination squad. He clutches his bleeding chest, screaming that he will not be the only one dying today as the final countdown begins. Seo-jun's eyes narrow as he notices glowing red magical circles suddenly appearing all over the bedroom floor. A massive magical formation activates, glowing with high-voltage magical pressure. A massive explosion of fire erupts from the circles, completely engulfing the entire bedroom in a spectacular show of destructive force. A giant mushroom cloud of smoke and flame blows through the windows of the estate. Leaping out of the blazing inferno, Seo-jun uses his grapple hook to swing clear of the destruction. He lands on a nearby roof, looking back at the burning mansion while muttering that the boss actually cast a self-destruction spell. The system alerts the nearby guard NPCs, who scream to get the assassin as they run toward the mansion. Under the red moon, Seo-jun's character turns to flee, knowing his health is way too low to fight another army. He sprints down the rocky path, the full blood moon lighting his escape. He reaches the edge of the estate grounds, the massive Gothic gate looming ahead in the fog. Suddenly, an elite guard captain leaps down from above, blocking his path with a massive spear. A bright slash of light cuts through the darkness as the captain launches a swift horizontal strike. Seo-jun is caught off guard by the speed of the attack, his eyes widening in surprise. The spear strike lands with a massive impact, sending him flying off the cliffside and into the dark canyon below. He tumbles down the steep rocky slope, his character completely losing control. He crashes into the rapid river at the bottom of the canyon with a massive splash. Staring down from the cliffside, the elite guard captain watches the river, ensuring the assassin does not surface. The scene fades to black as Dane's unconscious body is swept away by the fast-moving water. Morning light breaks over the majestic mountains, illuminating a peaceful forest valley. Seo Jun's character lies washed up on the grassy bank of the river, completely motionless. His fingers twitch as he slowly starts to regain consciousness, dipping his hand into the cool water. He slowly pushes himself up, his armor covered in wet mud from the riverbed. He sits up, rubbing his sore shoulders as he tries to shake off the dizzying sensation of the crash. He walks down the forest path, heading toward a small village visible in the distance. A system prompt alerts him that the tutorial storyline has officially concluded, switching full control back to his custom character. A beautiful golden eagle crest appears on his screen, confirming his character has successfully unlocked the main questline. His stream chat pops up with comments, with viewers laughing at how he survived the long fall but got wrecked by the final cutscene. The chat continues to tease him, though they admit his parries and dodge reflexes were actually highly impressive. In response to the criticism, Seo Jun simply holds his hands together in a polite greeting, thanking them for the feedback. He looks down at his streaming console, wondering what his next move should be now that the tutorial is cleared. A helpful viewer posts a system guide, telling him to head to the tavern first and speak with Christina to progress the main quest. The system automatically teleports him to the bustling town square, dropping him off right in front of the local tavern. He pushes open the heavy wooden door, taking in the warm, lively atmosphere of the establishment. The tavern is filled with local NPCs drinking, laughing, and chatting, creating a highly realistic medieval scene. He walks past the crowded tables, heading straight toward the bar counter at the back of the room. He spots a beautiful blonde woman cleaning glasses behind the bar. It is Christina, looking extremely elegant. Christina glances up, her brilliant blue eyes locking onto the newcomer with a cold, analytical expression. She smiles politely and asks if he needs anything. Seo Jun sits at the bar, casually replying that he actually needs a lot of things. As he speaks, he pulls out the gold eagle brooch he found on Count Ettore, presenting it directly to her. Seeing the brooch, Christina's eyes widen in sheer shock, her polite smile completely vanishing. She whispers a single word in a trembling, terrified voice, realizing exactly who is sitting in front of her. She demands to know who he is, her hand slowly moving toward a hidden dagger beneath the counter. Seo Jun raises his hands in a defensive gesture, calmly telling her there is no need to be so on edge. He is only here because he thought he could help. A shadowy, red-haired warrior silhouette appears behind him in her mind, illustrating the sheer pressure of his aura. She stares at him, her breathing shallow as she asks if he is the legendary master assassin everyone has been whispering about. He smiles warmly and confirms it, pleased that his reputation precedes him. His streaming chat explodes with golden coin animations as several viewers start sending him donations to show their support. Back at the bar, Christina sighs, deciding to trust him and suggesting they at least trade names before working together. She introduces herself, turning to ask him what his name is. A system prompt appears in his vision, asking him to input his official character name. His chat spams with suggestions, laughing at how he is finally getting to pick a username. He decides to keep it simple, setting his official streamer name to Jin Seo Jun. The system confirms the name update, and a viewer comments that playing safe with his real name is actually a decent choice. But inside the game dialogue, his character completely curves the expectation. Standing in the dimly lit tavern, he repeats with absolute calm that his name is Nameless. His chat is in complete stitches now, with viewers laughing at how edgy and dramatic his chosen dialogue option is. A system prompt flashes, asking him to confirm if he wants to use Nameless as his official storyline name. He taps yes. A loud chime rings out, confirming that he can now officially accept high-level assassination requests at the tavern. Christina nods and accepts the name, asking how they should get in touch from now on. She reaches into her pouch, explaining that she needs to know where the owner of Count Ettore's brooch currently is. His chat trolls the emotional moment, with a viewer posting a fake sob while another comments on how heartless Christina is. He looks at her and simply lies, telling her that he buried Dane at the Western Docks. She accepts his answer, handing him a rare glowing gray stone and telling him to use it to contact her. A system notification pops up on screen, confirming he has successfully obtained a signal stone. She smiles warmly, her blonde hair catching the tavern light as she tells him she will be counting on him. He tucks the signal stone away, stepping out of the warm tavern and back into the cool night air. He stretches his arms, checking his stream console as a viewer asks if they should call him Nameless from now on. He smiles and replies that since he still has not decided on an official channel name, they can call him whatever they want. Seeing that it is getting late, he announces that he is going to wrap up his very first stream here. He promises to be live again tomorrow at the exact same time, thanking his viewers for joining. A viewer sends a supportive message congratulating him on his first stream as he prepares to log off. He awkwardly waves to his chat, asking them if they can just leave the stream room now. A viewer laughs at his adorable newbie attitude, teasing him about whether the game has an autosave function. He presses the exit button, the system rendering a sleek digital grid as his avatar logs out of the virtual world. The system screen confirms his first stream has officially ended, showing exactly 6 active viewers stayed until the very end. A quick graphic shows his cute chibi self surrounded by floating hearts, thanking his loyal first 6 followers. He slides off his VR visor, rubbing his eyes as he thinks about the bizarre, highly entertaining usernames of his first viewers. Suddenly, a brand new viewer enters his empty room, asking if this is the legendary Rampage Run stream. Seo-jun sits up in his capsule, staring at his glowing terminal in complete confusion. He has no idea why people are joining after he already ended the stream. Back in his room, Taiwu is scrolling through his phone, deeply satisfied with the positive response to the video. He smiles warmly, muttering that the stream did not get a bad reception at all, and starts brainstorming ideas for tomorrow's content. Suddenly, Seo-jun kicks the door open with a loud slam, completely startling Taiwu and sending his phone flying. Taiwu falls back onto his bed, yelling in panic and asking his roommate if he digested his manners along with his dinner. He points at his phone screen, looking completely bewildered as he asks why this is happening. Seo-jun walks over, looking perfectly calm as he asks what exactly is causing such a fuss. Taiwu shows him the phone screen, pointing out that his stream chat is still incredibly active, even though he already ended the broadcast. Staring at the rolling wall of text, Taiwu looks completely stunned, his eyes wide with surprise. He blinks, asking himself if this massive level of post-stream engagement is actually real. Seo-jun checks his forum post, noting with a small smile that, at this rate, his thread is going to hit 30 likes very soon. Taiwu springs up from his bed, explaining that once his post hits the trending boards, his follower count is going to completely shoot up. He grins confidently, telling Seo-jun that his video is guaranteed to hit the front page of the platform. A cute chibi graphic shows Taiwu giving a big thumb up, while Seo-jun simply tells him to stop obsessing and just go to sleep. Night falls over the apartment building, the city outside quiet under the dark, starry sky. Inside the dark bedroom, Seo-jun lies awake in his bed, staring up at the ceiling in deep thought. He glances at his phone, noticing that his clip has already received another highly rated recommendation. He looks at the screen, murmuring that this must be what the modern world means by effective promotional marketing. He turns off the phone and closes his eyes, whispering that he will see the results for himself tomorrow. The next day, his stream clip starts trending on the main boards, racking up thousands of views as the hype continues to build. Sitting in his gaming chair, Seo-jun blinks, his mind slightly confused as he reads a viewer's comment about his combat personality. A video clip shows his paraduel with the AI, where he is completely outclassing the high-level bot with perfect positioning. The clip focuses on the robotic opponent, showing how the AI's complex attack patterns were completely dismantled. A viewer notes that unlike other training bots, this specific AI is programmed to immediately lunge at you the second you show even a tiny opening. But Seo-jun did not just parry the attack, he literally taunted the AI to its face, calling his victory too easy. A funny chibi graphic shows him running away from the angry robot, while his chat comments that his toxic personality is absolutely wild. He scratches his head, feeling a bit embarrassed as he admits he was just casually messing around with Taiwu when that happened. A viewer posts a meme calling him a toxic player with trash morals, though they admit his skills are undeniably god tier. Seo-jun is surprised to see how quickly the community managed to piece together his identity from just a single training grounds clip. A brilliant blue light surrounds his vision as he boots up the next-gen capsule for his second official broadcast. He logs into his dashboard, shocked to find his follower count has suddenly leaped to a staggering 432. He smiles warmly, noting that while his follower count is high, only about 6 of those people have actually seen him play live. He settles into his virtual lobby, crossing his arms as he prepares to launch the broadcast. He presses the glowing blue button, wondering how many of his new followers will actually show up to watch today. A system announcement flashes on the screen confirming that Jin Seo-jun has started streaming. The game loads, displaying a stunning high-definition promotional graphic of his chosen stealth game. The system confirms his destination, the beautiful Gothic city of Altion. Instantly, several of his new followers flood into the stream chat, filling his vision with excited greeting messages. He smiles warmly, welcoming his viewers and asking them if they are here to watch the famous nameless stream. He quickly addresses his chat, assuring them that his viral training grounds video definitely was not staged or paid off. Suddenly, a massive celebratory graphic explodes across his screen with a loud sound effect. A viewer has just donated a generous 10,000 won, asking how on earth he cleared Countatore. Seo-jun is caught completely off guard, his eyes widening in surprise as he thanks the viewer for his very first donation. A chibi graphic shows him holding a paintbrush, explaining to the donor that the secret to beating Ettore is simply hitting the exact same spot. His chat immediately reacts with several thumbs down emojis, jokingly complaining that his basic advice is completely useless. He rubs his chin and admits that maybe his explanation was indeed a bit too simple and half-assed. A helpful illustration pops up, showing how aiming for the NPC's weak points causes them to panic and completely lose their posture. He checks his quest log, noting that he has received a ton of different contract requests from the local townspeople. He flashes a confident, determined smile, deciding to get things started. He turns toward the sunset, his dark cloak rustling as the camera pans up to show the sprawling city of Altion. Standing in the middle of a crowded town square, he looks around at his potential targets, asking his chat if they want to warm up with a little pickpocketing. Back in Altion, the morning sun lights up a packed town square buzzing with shoppers and market stalls. A burly local pushes his way through the crowd, yelling at everyone to move. He bumps straight into Seo Jun, grunting in frustration as he trips up. The guy turns around and immediately starts barking at him to watch where he is going. But Seo Jun completely ignores the guy, smoothly walking past him into the crowded street. In a flash, his fingers slide right into the man's pocket and lift his leather pouch with perfect precision. He walks away smiling, tossing the stolen pouch in his hand and scoring a clean 7,000 gold. His stream chat is highly amused, asking if they accidentally tuned into a professional pickpocketing stream instead of an action game. They tease him about his street smarts, joking that he must have grown up in the back alleys of some ancient martial world. One viewer points out that the best part of this mechanic is always watching the streamer get chased down by the guards right after. He chuckles at his chat, assuring them that, with his high-level stealth reflexes, he definitely is not going to starve in this game. Suddenly, a harsh voice calls out from behind, commanding him to freeze right there. Seo Jun turns around slowly, his eyes narrowing as he spots a group of local street thugs completely blocking the alleyway. A red-haired thug steps forward with a smug grin, noting that they just saw him having some fun with that local's gold pouch. He demands to know if Seo Jun forgot that he needs their explicit permission to do any business in this district. Seo Jun casually raises the stolen pouch, genuinely asking if they are seriously trying to shake him down. The stream overlay pops up with viewers laughing at how his quick crime spree immediately backfired into getting mugged by local thugs. The chat floods with messages telling him to wreck them, eager to see some proper combat action. He cracks his knuckles, casually asking his viewers if it is fine for him to just wipe these guys out completely. A wanted poster of the local boss appears, with chat comments noting that taking out the leader cleans up the entire market district. Seo Jun confidently accepts the challenge. Cleaning up this market district is going to be his official stream goal for today. His chat is incredibly hyped, cheering him on and sharing tips on how to locate the gang's main hideout. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, a group of heavily armed guards is searching for a fugitive. The guard captain yells at his men to find the intruder at all costs. Mansion security is officially on high alert. A guard peers over the balcony railing, scanning the dark alleyways below. We cut to another streamer, a young guy named Alpaca with a massive 10,000 viewer average, hiding behind a candle holder in a nearby room. Alpaca sweats in panic, whispering that he is definitely going to get caught again if he does not find an opening fast. A guard captain spots a rustle in the shadows and glares right at his hiding spot. The guard lunges forward with his sword, catching Alpaca completely by surprise as he screams in pure panic. A massive red game over graphic flashes on Alpaca's screen. That marks his fourth failed attempt at this level. Back in his room, Alpaca groans and complains about how many times these random syndicate grunts have managed to kill him. A viewer helpfully points out in the chat that this is his fourth consecutive fail, prompting a highly sarcastic thanks from the streamer. He notes that he simply needs to defeat Drake to clear Zone 4, but the task is proving to be incredibly tough for a solo player. He pulls up a strategic guide, explaining that this area is controlled by a group of highly powerful bosses known as the Rulers. The guide shows the glowing profiles of these rulers. They are a secret society of main villains controlling the entire underbelly of Altion. At the absolute top of the hierarchy stands Drake. He is the ruthless boss of the disassemblers and looks highly menacing. He explains that Drake randomly spawns at one of 10 different hideouts, making him a total nightmare to track down. A detailed city map pops up with 10 golden pins marking all of Drake's potential spawn locations. Alpaca trades with a local vendor, successfully scoring a rare secret map to help locate the boss. He reviews the map data, groaning that the sheer size of the search area is a massive hassle for solo players. He checks the newly updated map, deciding to zero in on Drake's location first. A golden marker flashes on his screen. Drake is currently holed up inside the Grand Theater. Alpaca thanks a viewer for a 10,001 donation, though he is highly confused by their suggestion to just go full hack and slash. He laughs, explaining that this game is way too difficult to play, like a standard action game. A viewer replies, urging him to check the community forums right now because something absolutely wild is trending. Alpaca blinks, wondering what on earth could possibly be trending during his stream. He opens the community board, spotting a massive thread about a mysterious new player who is completely tearing through the game. The thread title dares Alpaca to call this guy his master and do an endurance stream if he actually clears Drake using the hack-and-slash method. Alpaca laughs out loud, asking the user if they are actually going to take responsibility for that ridiculous bet. His chat floods with laughter as viewers immediately start teasing him about the high stakes. A viewer chimes in, directly asking if he is too scared to take the bet. Alpaca gets a nervous sweat drop, backpedaling and admitting that if the guy who cleared the tutorial was secretly a pro gamer, the bet is totally off. His chat mercilessly spams him, calling him a coward and telling him to hold the L as a new donation alert pops up. Back on Seojun's stream, he draws his practice weapon with a sharp swish. His eyes lock onto the hallway ahead. A group of thugs spots him instantly. Their leader screams that there is an intruder downstairs and to stop him at all costs. A massive squad of armed syndicate members rushes down the grand staircase to engage him. Standing at the base of the stairs, Seojun just gives a relaxed, confident smile as he readies his wooden stick. A viewer posts in the chat, genuinely believing that this absolute madman is actually going to clear the whole level just like this. Walking down the wet cobblestone streets of the lower district, Seojun takes a moment to adjust his boots. He stealthily follows the group of syndicate thugs as they head deeper into the dark, narrow alleys. A stream alert pops up with a viewer comment noting how incredibly dark and atmospheric the back alleys look. He mutters to himself, deciding to just follow them silently for now to see where their hideout is. Another viewer asks how his character is supposed to fight these guys without a proper high-level weapon. He gives a cute chibi shrug on the overlay, asking his chat what exactly a ruler is. His chat immediately explodes with laughing comments, teasing him about his complete lack of basic game knowledge. A viewer sends a small donation of 1,000 won, jokingly asking how he plans to beat a ruler when he does not even know what they are. Seojun sighs, explaining that he actually did some research and looked up a quick guide on Drake last night. He recalls reading the guides in his room, noting that every written strategy was filled with warnings and unrecommended pathing. The guides basically concluded that there is no way to beat Drake without a complex setup, so normal players should just bring plenty of potions. Seojun shrugs, confidently deciding that he will just have to defeat them so quickly that they will not even have time to counterattack. Suddenly, the group of thugs stops, the leader turning around to confront the intruder with a dark look. He demands that Seojun hand over all of his gold, including the wallet he just lifted earlier. Another thug steps up, tapping his weapon on his palm and taunting Seojun about how scared he looks. The chat is highly amused, laughing at how the street thugs are trying to shake down a literal martial arts god. The thug chuckles, asking if the little brat is deaf because he has not handed over the money yet. Seojun calmly stares at them, asking if they happen to know where Drake's actual hideout is located. The thugs look at each other in surprise, the leader boasting that of course they know where their boss is. Seojun walks closer, demanding to know where he is. The red-haired leader laughs mockingly, asking if he is completely nuts for thinking they would actually tell him that. Seojun gives a wide, highly competitive grin, telling the leader that if he will not talk, he is getting punched first. The thugs are completely taken aback by his sudden bold threat, their smug grins instantly vanishing. The leader points his sword and screams to his men to teach this brat a lesson. A thug lunges forward with a horizontal slash, but Seojun easily leaps back to evade the strike. He rolls gracefully to the side, completely evading a follow-up thrust from the second thug. Another thug, looking highly irritated, screams in rage as he dashes forward to attack. The thug launches a fast horizontal strike, his blade cutting through the dark alleyway. Seojun tilts his head slightly, the blade missing his face by a mere fraction of an inch. In a split second, he grabs the thug's wrist, completely halting his movement with an iron grip. He delivers a swift, powerful elbow strike directly to the thug's chest, throwing him completely off balance. The thug gasps in pain, coughing up a mouthful of spit as the impact sends him flying backward. Seojun lands gracefully on his feet, his eyes already locking onto the next target. The red-haired thug captain screams in pure anger as he raises his sword to strike. The captain launches a heavy overhead slash, but Seojun parries it with his practice stick with a loud clash. A massive shockwave of blue and white sparks erupts as he deflects the captain's heavy weapon. He slides his stick along the captain's blade, delivering a quick counterstrike that knocks the sword out of his hand. The captain's eyes go wide in shock as his weapon is sent flying into the darkness. The captain stumbles backward, his balance completely shattered as he realizes he is completely outmatched. He falls onto his hands and knees on the cobblestone floor, gasping for breath under the street lamps. His chat overlay is filled with comments, with several viewers praising his clean parry reflexes and perfect spacing. The defeated thug captain glares up at him, cursing under his breath and trembling in fear. Seojun steps closer, towering over the fallen leader as the shadows of the alley engulf them. He presses his practice stick against the captain's throat, calmly asking him one more time where Drake is. A funny chibi graphic shows the captain sweating in sheer terror, completely unable to utter a single word. Seo-jun looks at the trembling thug and repeats his question in a low, highly intimidating voice. The captain whimpers, completely broken by the overwhelming pressure of his gaze. His chat is highly amused, with a viewer commenting that his intense interrogation style looks like some next-level torture. With a loud crack, Seo-jun taps his stick against the stone wall, demanding an immediate answer. The captain trembles violently, finally stuttering out that Drake is holed up inside the Grand Theater on 13th Street. He points a shaking finger down the alleyway, begging the demon to spare his life. Seo-jun smiles politely and steps back, leaving the terrified thug groveling on the floor. He slides the captured dagger back into his sheath, finding the weapon's short range a bit annoying to handle. He looks around the dark alleyway, wondering if there's a better, more suited weapon hidden nearby. He spots a massive heavy iron pole resting against a wooden crate, his eyes lighting up with interest. He grips the heavy pole, lifting it effortlessly with a sharp swoosh that cuts through the night air. A group of patrolling syndicate guards spots him, their leader pointing and shouting to attack the intruder. Seo-jun leaps forward, swinging the heavy iron pole in a wide, devastating circle. The massive sweep connects with the first guard's shield, shattering his defense with a powerful, echoing crash. The guard is sent crashing to the stone floor, his health bar completely depleted in a single blow. Seo-jun systematically clears the remaining guards, his heavy iron pole dealing massive area damage with every swing. Standing amidst the fading particles of light, he rests the massive iron pole on his shoulder with a confident smile. His stream chat pops up with comments, with a viewer noting that making an assassin fight with a giant pole in a crowded theater is absolutely wild. Another viewer laughs, commenting that this chaotic, unrecommended playstyle is actually incredibly fun to watch. Suddenly, a bright flash of magical light erupts from his console, signaling the activation of a new level. The system interface glitches, rendering the next combat zone with a series of high-level security alerts. He stands before the grand doors of the 13th Street Theater, his eyes sharp as he prepares for the boss encounter. A close-up of his eye shows his complete, absolute focus as the theater doors slowly grind open. He steps inside the grand, dimly lit auditorium, ready to face Drake and clear his official stream goal for today. Deep inside the grand theater, a rain of sharp steel daggers falls from the high ceiling, cutting through the air. Moving with perfect precision, Seo-jun draws his heavy iron pole to deflect the incoming projectiles. With a blinding spin of his pole, he parries the rapid daggers, creating a spectacular shower of white sparks. He continues his spin, deflecting a secondary wave of daggers with effortless ease. His viewer spams in the chat in complete shock, unable to believe he just parried a multi-angle projectile attack. From the deep shadows of the stage, heavy, slow footsteps echo as a towering figure walks forward. The figure gives a sinister, toothy grin, his eyes glowing with malice as he steps into the dim light. The system confirms his identity. Drake, the infamous boss of the disassemblers, holding a pair of heavy chained daggers. Drake swings his chained weapons with a loud whistle, asking the intruder if he truly thinks he can parry his next assault. In a flash of movement, Drake unleashes a massive coordinated barrage of chained daggers that fly from all directions. The daggers trace a complex, unpredictable pattern in the air as they home in on their target. Seo-jun calmly raises his heavy iron pole, tracking the daggers' paths with sharp focus. With a blindingly fast circular spin of his pole, he creates a defensive barrier of wind and sparks. He pivots gracefully, parrying two daggers simultaneously and sending them clattering to the floor. The impact creates a series of bright white flashes as his iron pole systematically deflects every single projectile. He deflects the final heaviest dagger with a sharp echoing ring. A massive shockwave of energy explodes outward as the final parry is registered, clearing the surrounding dust. A viewer comments that this parry display is absolutely mental, noting that he is even parrying objects thrown from his blind spots. Seo-jun gives a relaxed, confident smirk, fully enjoying the intense combat challenge. Stunned by the defense, Drake stops his assault and asks the hooded warrior what his actual name is. Seo-jun adjusts his hood and calmly replies with his storyline name, Nameless. Drake smiles grimly, muttering that Nameless is indeed a fine name for a warrior of his caliber. He clenches his fists, a dark blood-red energy beginning to swirl around his chained weapons. He declares that the strong deserve his respect, promising to fight with everything he has as the real boss fight begins. Drake whips his chain daggers forward, the red energy trail cutting through the dark theater auditorium. Seo-jun reacts instantly, parrying the heavy chain with a swift vertical swing of his pole. He uses the momentum to launch himself forward, sliding across the wooden stage toward the boss. But Drake is incredibly fast, immediately pulling back his chains to launch another horizontal strike. The heavy chain dagger misses Seo Jun's head by a fraction of an inch as he ducks low. He rolls forward, his eyes locking onto the boss as he searches for a proper opening. Drake swings his chains in a wide spinning circle, creating an impenetrable wall of steel and red light. Seo Jun realizes that this boss's combat patterns are significantly more complex and dangerous than Count Ettores. Drake lands on the stage, the heavy iron chains of his weapons clattering loudly on the wooden floor. He stands ready, his body surrounded by a protective aura of chained daggers. A viewer comments that the developers clearly poured a massive amount of effort into designing this intricate boss combat system. Drake laughs, mocking Seo Jun and asking if he is too scared to make his next move. He charges forward, his chained daggers humming with a high-pitched, magical tone. Their weapons clash in a spectacular display of blue and purple sparks as they trade rapid blows. Seo Jun deflects a heavy thrust, the force of the parry pushing him back slightly. He looks up at the towering boss, realizing that Drake's combat speed is indeed highly impressive. A viewer comments that his parry timing is simply insane, but wonders how long he can keep up this defense. Another user notes that Seo Jun's custom unrecommended playstyle with the heavy pull is actually incredibly cool to watch. Seo Jun smiles, admitting that defending against this boss is indeed significantly harder than fighting 13 normal guards at once. But to him, this level of high-speed combat is the best part of playing the game. In his mind, his past memories as the legendary sword god flash, recalling his mastery over every weapon. He dashes forward, his heavy iron pole emitting a bright white trail as he prepares to launch a decisive strike. He whispers that he will show him a proper high-level parry as he aims directly for the boss's opening. With a flash of speed, he closes the distance, completely bypassing Drake's defensive chains. The boss swings his weapon to block, but Seo Jun's heavy iron pole slams directly into his chains with a massive crash. With a perfect parry, he completely shatters Drake's defense, leaving the boss wide open. He explains to his chat that while a parry against normal guards results in an instant kill, against a boss like Drake, it simply buys you enough time for a single high-damage strike. He notes that since Drake's protective chains make a normal strike nearly impossible, landing a clean parry is the single way to deal real damage. He delivers a swift, powerful thrust directly to Drake's chest, dealing a massive chunk of critical damage. The boss grimaces in pain, his health bar rapidly dropping as he stumbles backward. A system prompt reveals the mechanics of his high guard technique, explaining how he drives massive power from a solid lower body. A tutorial diagram shows the perfect posture required to execute a high-level manual parry in virtual reality. Seo Jun unleashes another massive strike, his iron pole glowing with an intense pink energy trail. He slams the pole directly into the boss's head, the devastating impact shaking the entire screen. A giant shockwave of pink and white sparks explodes as the final blow is delivered, sending the boss crashing to the stage. His chat is in complete shambles, with viewers screaming that Drake was just absolutely crushed in seconds. Seo Jun lowers his iron pole, admitting that while playing with a different virtual body felt slightly weird at first, it does not really matter to him at all. A holographic menu displays his combat analysis, showing his footwork and timing were both completely frame perfect. He looks at his hands, noting that having a different virtual body still yields the exact same results when your mind is in perfect sync. The defeated boss growls in fury, clashing his weapons together and glaring at the intruder with absolute hatred. Drake screams in rage, vowing to destroy the intruder as he prepares a final desperate attack. He unleashes a massive coordinated flurry of chain daggers that fly from all directions. Seo Jun reacts instantly, his iron pole moving in a perfect high-speed defensive circle to block the final assault. He delivers a swift horizontal slash, the bright white trail of his weapon cutting through the boss's final defenses. A viewer comments that his parry timing is simply godlike, while the rest of his chat spams celebratory messages. Seo Jun stands victoriously as the final boss of Zone 4 slowly dissolves into glowing particles of light. He smiles warmly, his eyes glowing with excitement as the combat system officially powers down. A brilliant flash of white light fills the grand theater stage, marking his complete victory. With a final dramatic spin, he sheathes his practice weapon, taking a deep breath of the virtual air. A giant golden mission clear graphic explodes across his screen, celebrating his achievement. The system confirms he has successfully slain Drake, unlocking his legendary loot. He checks his rewards, finding a rare quest item called the Shard of Order in his inventory. His chat is in complete chaos, with a viewer sending a massive donation of 100,000 won to celebrate. He looks at the donation, a highly confused expression forming on his face as he notices a very interesting stat. He blinks in utter shock, his jaw dropping as he stares at his stream console and asks himself when the viewer count got this high. Back in his virtual lobby, Seo Jun stares blankly at his streaming stat screen, completely surprised by his sudden growth. He blushes slightly, realizing that his active viewer count is actually slightly higher than his total follower count right now. A brief flashback shows Taiwu screaming at him, telling him never to get too hung up on raw viewer numbers and just try his absolute best. Returning to the present, Seojun smiles warmly, admitting that despite the pressure, the sudden wave of the tension actually feels pretty good. He checks the rolling stream chat, which is filled with several new viewers asking if he is the player from the viral clip. A viewer sends a 10,000 won donation, commenting that his manual parry with the pipe gave him chills. Another viewer asks him how exactly he managed to execute that high-speed parry with such a basic starting weapon. He looks at the spam of question marks, thanking his first donor, and noting that the community has already started calling his run the pipe killer. He adjusts his hood, telling his chat that he actually has one very important question before they continue. He looks out over the grand stage of the theater, where the defeated Drake's assets are slowly loading. A tutorial menu displays the details of the ruler's organization, leaving him deeply interested in the game's lore. A massive key visual of the game pops up, confirming he has successfully cleared the final boss of Zone 4. The wind howls through the sunset-lit streets of Altion as Seojun's character walks down the stone path. He stands quietly in the courtyard, checking his virtual compass for directions to his next destination. In a flashback, he remembers the fierce battle with Drake, noting that the boss's high-speed attacks were indeed highly impressive. He looks around, only to suddenly hear a familiar voice calling out to him. A shadowy figure leaps down from the high castle wall, landing gracefully in front of him. The figure is revealed to be Christina, looking extremely beautiful under the golden twilight as his stream chat spams that she is gorgeous. She reaches out, presenting a heavy leather gold pouch as she thanks him for taking out Drake and freeing the townspeople from oppression. She smiles warmly, handing over the pouch as she tells him this is his reward. A system alert pops up on screen, officially announcing that his reputation with the local town faction has significantly increased. Seojun accepts the gold, noting with a smirk that since he did not even take a formal contract, getting paid anyway feels pretty great. His stream chat is highly amused, with a viewer posting a meme of a confused Drake wondering why he had to die for a non-contracted quest. Christina looks over at him, asking where he plans to head next on his journey. Seojun gives her a confident smile and tells her she really should not need to ask that question. She laughs softly, telling him that is fair enough and she will head out first. She turns around and walks away, her dark cloak blending into the beautiful Victorian sunset. Seojun watches her leave, nodding silently as he prepares to log out. A viewer chat comments that his dramatic no-contract assassination run was absolutely messy but iconic. Seeing that he has accomplished all his goals for today, Seojun decides this is probably a good spot to end his second official stream. He waves goodbye to his chat, declaring that he has done everything he wanted to do today and is wrapping up. His chat is in a complete panic, with viewers screaming for him to stay and play a bit more. He ignores the pleas, smiling as he says his goodbyes and initiates the logout sequence. The system renders a sleek digital cube as his avatar successfully disconnects from the game server. He slides off his VR visor, taking a deep breath of the real room's air. Suddenly, he hears a rustling sound behind him, turning around to find a familiar face lounging in his room. It is his roommate, Taiwu, lying comfortably on his bed and staring at him with a mischievous grin. Taiwu laughs, admitting that since he had the day off today, he spent the entire afternoon watching his stream, which was surprisingly fun. A funny chibi thought bubble shows them bickering, with a warning sign reminding them that the room is shared and not to fight. Taiwu stands up, asking his roommate how it felt to finally get some real buzz on his stream. He shows him his phone, noting that for a channel with only 400 viewers, the stream chat was going absolutely wild. Seeing his phone in Taiwu's hand, Seojun immediately lunges forward and demands that he hand it over. Taiwu checks a trending thread on the forums, pointing out that a viewer posted a clip of Seojun's parries on Drake. The clip shows the exact moment Seojun shattered Drake's stance, with several comments praising his reflexes. Seojun scrolls through the forum comments, surprised to see how much attention his small channel is getting. He stares at a post discussing the rare reward he obtained, noting that there is currently still zero public info on the Shard of Order. He narrows his eyes, wondering if this quest item is actually exclusive to players who clear the tutorial through a rampage run. He reads a troll comment calling his stream talk peak cringe, which only makes him more determined to prove them wrong. Taiwu slaps his shoulder, laughing and noting that once a streamer gets popular, the haters are guaranteed to follow. Seojun simply replies that he does not really care about the haters as long as his view count stays positive. Taiwu points at him, asking what on earth he expects to do next now that he has successfully gathered over 400 followers. Taiwu grabs his jacket and heads out the door, reminding him that there are still over 10,000 people lurking on the forums. Staring at his closed bedroom door, Seojun realizes his roommate is right. He needs to find a way to get even more famous. He walks over to his computer desk, asking himself how he is supposed to do that. He checks his phone notifications, seeing a brand new post about the popular streamer Alpaca getting completely wrecked. He clicks the thread, noting that Alpaca's failed attempts have become a massive meme among the hardcore gaming community. The thread features a clip of Alpaca swearing he will revere Nameless as his master if Nameless clears Drake. Reading the bold declaration, a devious smile slowly spreads across Seojun's face as he asks the screen if Alpaca is actually willing to stand by those words. He opens his door and calls out to Taiwu, wanting to ask him a quick question. He asks his roommate if he happens to know a popular streamer called Alpaca. Taiwu replies that they have actually collabed a few times. Seojun gives a polite, highly devious smile, telling Taiwu that he actually needs a very special favor from him. Meanwhile, on his own stream, a frustrated Alpaca is shown staring blankly at a giant game over screen on his monitor. His chat overlay displays a viewer commenting that this is his 13th consecutive fail, urging him to just give up and quit. He slumps over his desk in deep despair, grumbling about how vicious and mean his own chat can be. He sighs, admitting that he should have spent his reputation points on hiring some backup instead of attempting this solo. Suddenly, a cute fluffy alpaca mascot pops up in his virtual lobby, a custom gift from his loyal fans to cheer him up. The fluffy mascot named Daibuk starts dancing around the room, instantly catching the streamer's attention. Alpaca smiles warmly, thanking his fans and declaring that Daibuk's cute dance has successfully managed to cheer him up. But as soon as he steps closer, the mascot suddenly spits a massive wad of virtual saliva directly onto his face. He wedges his face in disgust, grumbling about how even his own custom lobby mascot has started trolling him today. He sits on his virtual couch, sighing that no matter how many times he attempts this level, it never gets any easier. A golden donation chest pops up on his screen with a loud chime, alerting him to a brand new message from a viewer. The viewer asks him if he saw the forum post about a player who successfully cleared Drake. Alpaca scoffs, replying that the viewer must be joking because Drake is a top-tier ruler boss and practically impossible to solo. He clicks the forum link anyway, fully expecting to find a fake edited video or some clickbait scam. He opens the thread, seeing a clip titled, "Nameless Drake Muso Clear." He is shocked to see it already has over 100,000 views. As the video loads, his eyes go wide in absolute horror as he watches the player parry Drake's attacks with a heavy iron pole. He stands completely frozen, his face pale as he whispers, wondering if that is actually Nameless. A glowing system envelope pops up on his screen, notifying him of a private message from a user named Nameless. Alpaca jumps back in surprise, staring at the message request as his heart beats fast in his chest. A close-up of Alpaca's eyes shows his absolute shock as he hesitantly reaches out to accept the message. He opens the chat window, finding a message from Taiwu's channel, confirming that Nameless is indeed ready to collab and has a very interesting proposal for him. We see the towering headquarters of Ubisoft Korea, a massive futuristic skyscraper reaching toward the clouds. Inside a high-end corner office, a freshly brewed cup of hot coffee sits on the desk. We are introduced to Eve Fimo, the charismatic CEO of Ubisoft Korea, enjoying his hot morning beverage. He takes a peaceful sip, savoring the rich aroma of the coffee in his quiet office. Suddenly, the office doors are thrown open with a loud slam, completely startling the CEO and sending a spray of coffee everywhere. A cute chibi graphic shows Eve screaming in anger, demanding to know if his employee has ever heard of the basic concept of knocking. Eve wipes his desk, asking his panicked employee what on earth has gotten him so incredibly worked up. The employee pants heavily, shouting that a massive problem has just occurred on the game servers. He points to his tablet screen, announcing that one of the game's high-level rulers has officially been defeated. Eve freezes, a serious, intense look replacing his relaxed expression as he asks which ruler. The employee replies with a single name, Drake. A screen shows Drake's character assets, reminding them that Drake was designed to be one of the most difficult, unrecommended boss fights in the entire zone. Stunned by the news, the CEO tries to calm his employee down, telling him to relax because he is clearly overthinking the situation. The employee clenches his fists, pointing out that Eve was the very person who designed the anti-cheat system to prevent exactly this from happening. A holographic display shows the rare Shard of Order item, which is supposed to be a hidden reward earned only through specific, highly difficult pathways. He reads the game data, confirming that a player managed to obtain the hidden item by clearing Drake through a manual rampage run. A funny chibi graphic shows a developer pulling their hair out over the extreme difficulty, while the system logs show the run was completely manual. The screen glows with bright golden circles as the system calculates the historic achievement of this mysterious newcomer. We get a close-up of a veteran player looking extremely focused as he sits inside his gaming capsule, representing the top-tier players of the community. Back on the forums, users are actively discussing the viral clip, completely blown away by the pet killer parries. A close-up of a user's face shows his sweat-filled, intense expression as he scrolls through the trending threads. Inside a clean corporate conference room, a high-ranking manager is lecturing his employees about the sudden surge in platform traffic. He stops, narrowing his eyes as he asks his assistant how on earth they managed to verify that the streamer is currently live. A shadowy, intense split screen shows the assistant sweating as he admits he was watching the broadcast during official work hours. The manager slams his desk in pure rage, screaming that he is docking his pay on the spot for slacking off on the job. The assistant begs for mercy, but the manager is completely done with his excuses, telling him to immediately get back to work. He sighs, muttering about how impossible it is for their team to collect all the hidden items on the server before the players do. A giant graphic of the number 13 is shown on the wall, representing the top-ranking streamers of the platform. Back at Alpaca's house, a guest walks into his living room and asks in surprise if this is actually a collab. Alpaca sits on his couch, confirming that he is officially setting up a collaborative stream with the viral newcomer. The guest checks his phone, seeing Alpaca's official community notice announcing the upcoming collaboration with Nameless. He asks Alpaca if he is actually serious about this. The guest, a sharp-looking young man with dark gray hair named Suhan, warns Alpaca that he might be seriously misunderstanding the situation. He points out that this Nameless guy is currently trending as a massive master assassin on the forums, which is a major deal. He shows Alpaca some highly edited video clips of the master parrying multiple guards with a basic wooden stick. Suhan scoffs, questioning if this newbie is actually a master when he has only been streaming for a few days. He looks at the phone screen, admitting that while the player's parry timing is indeed impressive, it is still just a basic tutorial level. Alpaca relaxes on the couch, asking Suhan if he can borrow his capsule later when Nameless arrives for the collab. Suhan looks at him in disbelief, noting that he heard Nameless's synchronization rate is unusually low, so using a next-gen capsule is a massive waste. Alpaca stands up, telling Suhan to stay in his room and watch the collab, and to call him immediately when the guest gets here. Suhan sits on the bed, holding his phone and grumbling about how picky and dramatic Alpaca has been lately. He pauses, staring at his phone as a sudden realization hits him about Nameless's low synchronization rate. A funny chibi graphic shows him imagining Nameless as a chaotic knife-wielding maniac who is going to completely ruin their stream. Suhan sweats nervously, starting to regret his decision to let Alpaca agree to this high-risk collaborative broadcast. Suddenly, the doorbell rings with a loud chime, startling Alpaca and sending him scrambling to answer the door. He opens the front door, greeting his guest with a bright, welcoming smile. He looks at the dark-haired young man standing next to Taiwu, surprised to see that the legendary master assassin looks completely normal and handsome. A wanted poster overlay pops up with some funny comments, teasing Alpaca about how this false advertising of a scary assassin is lawsuit material. Chibi drawings show the viewers getting hyped, with comments laughing at how the scary Nameless is actually just a cute guy. Taiwu raises his hand to greet Alpaca, happily exclaiming that it has been a while and he brought him with him. Seo Jun steps into the clean, modern apartment, looking around at the stylish interior design. He notes that from the outside, the place looked like a very ordinary house, but the inside is incredibly spacious and well-furnished. He passes by the living room area, noting that this is exactly what a highly successful veteran streamer's house looks like. Alpaca leads them to the couch, inviting them to make themselves comfortable and offering to help carry their bags. A funny chibi graphic shows Taiwu immediately teasing Alpaca, asking him why he is acting so incredibly polite and formal today. Alpaca ignores the teasing, turning around to formally introduce his manager and editor, who just walked into the room. The gray-haired manager steps forward, introducing himself as Lee Suhan, Alpaca's manager and video editor. Seo Jun shakes his hand politely, introducing himself as streamer Jin Seo Jun. As their hands meet, an intense fiery split screen shows their eyes locking, creating a highly competitive atmosphere. Seo Jun's golden eyes narrow as he senses a sudden surge of pressure, wondering if Suhan is trying to play some kind of silent dominance game with him. Suhan maintains his grip, noting that while Seo Jun's in-game parries were indeed impressive, his low synchronization rate is a massive handicap. He leans closer, pointing out that Seo Jun recently stated on stream that he only recently started playing capsule games again. Seo Jun gives a small, calm smile, admitting that while his current gaming history is short, he has a little secret. A split panel shows the others listening closely as he casually reveals that he actually played in the professional league 7 years ago. A close-up of Alpaca's eyes shows his complete absolute shock as he gasps, asking if he really means 7 years ago. Suhan frowns, deeply skeptical as he asks what his official ranking was back then. Seo Jun simply replies that he was silver. Suhan scoffs and crosses his arms, declaring that there is absolutely no way a silver-ranked player from 7 years ago could return this strong after such a long break. With a competitive glint in his eyes, Suhan challenges him to a sparring match in the training grounds right now. Taiwu panics, immediately asking Suhan why on earth he wants to drag his guest into the training grounds the second he arrives. A funny chibi graphic shows Taiwu trying to shield Seo Jun, while Suhan glares at them with an irritated expression. Taiwu laughs nervously, telling Suhan that fighting Seo Jun is honestly a terrible idea that is only going to end in disaster. Hearing the warning, Suhan's face twists in anger, demanding to know if Taiwu seriously thinks he is going to lose to a rookie. Taiwu quickly waves his hands, clarifying that losing is not even the main issue here. Seo Jun shrugs his shoulders, looking completely relaxed and unbothered by the sudden pre-stream drama. Suhan demands that the match stay strictly between them, warning Taiwu to make sure the details of the sparring duel do not leave this room. Alpaca looks at the setup, noting that if they want to build some real hype for the stream, challenging a high-level boss is the way to go. A system interface flashes on screen, displaying the holographic avatar of the next combat opponent. Seo Jun looks at the interface, his eyes narrowing as he gets ready to log in and show the editor what a real master can do. Back in the virtual training arena, Suhan lunges forward, his sword glowing with a brilliant blue streak. Seo Jun parries the high-speed attack with his practice stick, creating a sharp shower of sparks. The parry is perfect, sending Suhan's blade sliding off to the side and completely breaking his offensive stance. Stunned by how easily his strike was deflected, Suhan's assistant's sweat drops as he gasps in shock. Standing in the center of the arena, Seo Jun smiles, enjoying his noodles while casually waiting for the next attack. His roommate watches the live monitor, noting that the sparring match is completely one-sided. He reads the stream comments, showing that, apart from the hits Seo Jun deliberately took to test the pain, he has not been tagged even once. A cartoonish graphic shows Suhan getting extremely angry and flustered, while Alpaca comments that Seo Jun's line is incredibly badass. Suhan stands in the shadows of the room, his face dark with embarrassment as he struggles to accept his crushing defeat. Seo Jun turns to his manager, asking him with a smug grin if he is ready to pay up on the bet. Suhan sighs and stands up, admitting that Seo Jun is indeed on a whole different level. He looks at the dark-haired player, declaring that from this moment on he will formally support his stream and handle the video editing. Suhan bows low, dramatically stating that he is going to treat Seo Jun as his senior from now on. Chibi drawings show Alpaca and Suhan hugging and crying in celebration, while Seo Jun is left completely confused by their dramatic reaction. He stands there, scratching his head and muttering a soft, "Huh." Suhan stands up, explaining that if you are good at games, you are a certified big brother in his book, so please speak comfortably with him. Seo Jun sighs, muttering that going by age, he should really be treated like an old man, not a young big brother. Chibi drawings show them bickering, while Alpaca giggles at the dopey grin on his manager's face. Alpaca watches the chat reactions, noting that the viewers are absolutely loving the pre-stream banters and roommate drama. He clenches his fists, muttering that they need to focus because the official collaborative stream starts very soon. Night falls over the city, the sky dark as the clock ticks closer to their broadcast time. Inside Alpaca's high-tech stream room, the two creators settle into their respective capsules to prepare. A notification pops up on his screen, indicating he has received another highly rated stream recommendation. Alpaca checks his console, whispering that this is exactly what the modern platform means by prime promotional slots. He shuts off his screen, muttering that he will see how many viewers actually show up for the broadcast tomorrow. He boots up the high-tech next-gen capsule, the visor glowing with a bright blue energy as he settles in. A funny chibi graphic shows him getting extremely hyper, shouting to his chat that it is finally time to launch the Clear or Die stream. He waves to his viewers, welcoming them with a bright, cheerful greeting as the stream goes live. The system interface flashes, displaying his rising viewer engagement metrics as his new followers flood into the room. Standing in his virtual lobby under a bright sun, Alpaca opens his arms and shouts a cheerful greeting to everyone. His chat immediately floods with comments, with several new viewers asking if this is the famous nameless collab stream. He blinks, slightly pouting as he notices that almost nobody in the chat is actually here to see him today. A viewer posts a message confirming they are only here to watch the Master Assassin, not Alpaca. He clutches his chest in dramatic betrayal, crying that his own fans are completely abandoning him for the rookie. A golden overlay displays a massive comment explaining they are only here to watch the highly anticipated Clear or Die promise. He growls in frustration, telling his chat that they are officially banned for being so mean to him. He clicks his console, teasing his viewers by asking if they want to know why they are getting banned. The chat spans with laughing comments as a red warning prompt flashes to announce the start of their final segment. The screen glows with a fiery dramatic overlay, declaring that they are officially beginning the highly anticipated Rampage run. Alpaca strikes a cool pose, shouting to the audience that his master is ready to show them a real combat masterclass. He turns around with an incredibly hyped expression, introducing Seo Jun to the thousands of active viewers. A system notification pops up in his vision, confirming that several veteran players have joined to watch the stream. A massive wave of applause emojis floods the chat window, celebrating the official arrival of the Pipe Killer. A spotlight falls on the stage, where the silhouette of the legendary Nameless is supposed to appear. But to everyone's surprise, the spotlight remains completely empty, leaving the audience confused. Alpaca sweat drops, checking his dashboard and wondering why on earth his guest is not coming out of his capsule. His viewer chat trolls the awkward moment, commenting that the scary Nameless probably got stage fright and ran away. Alpaca panics, trying to play it cool while calling his guest's phone to see what is going on. He gets a text message from Taiwu's channel, confirming that Seojun's next-gen capsule is experiencing a minor connection lag. The loading icon spins on his visor, while his chat continues to laugh at his hilariously awkward collab, fail. Alpaca looks at his monitor, sweating as his view count starts to drop from the long delay. The chat keeps roasting him, asking if this legendary master assassin is actually just a big catfish scam. But just as the viewers are about to leave, a massive flash of blue light suddenly erupts in the center of the lobby. Chibi drawings show the viewer's eyes popping out in shock as the digital avatar of Nameless finally materializes on stage. Seojun waves casually to the audience, politely apologizing for being late to his very first collaborative stream. He sits next to Alpaca on a pile of hay bales, explaining that his capsule's loading speed is on the low side. Chibi drawings show the chat going completely wild, with viewers commenting how amazed they are and praising his handsome avatar. Alpaca checks his stream stats, his eyes widening in shock as his active viewer count rapidly climbs toward 20,000 live. Alpaca clenches his fist in excitement, realizing this is easily the single biggest broadcast of his entire streaming career. He turns to his guest with a sweat drop, asking him how he can stay so incredibly calm and relaxed in front of a stadium-sized audience. Alpaca explains that while some veteran streamers keep their chats clean by banning trolls, he prefers a loose, chaotic atmosphere. He notes that having a highly active, chaotic chat is actually incredibly entertaining and keeps the viewers engaged. A viewer comments that they love the loose, relaxed vibe of his stream, while another jokes that the chaotic chat is Alpaca's specialty. Chibi drawings show Alpaca crying in dramatic betrayal, while Seojun simply watches the comments with an amused smile. He high-fives his guest, thanking him for taking down Drake and helping him clear his most difficult mission. Alpaca laughs, admitting that thanks to Seojun's viral clip, his own channel has received a massive wave of new followers today. A viewer sends a small donation, teasing Alpaca about how he swore to revere Nameless as his master. Alpaca gets a nervous sweat drop, grumbling about how his own words have officially come back to bite him today. Seojun chuckles, casually replying that he does feel a tiny bit of responsibility for the situation. He adjusts his collar, smiling as he asks the chat if they are ready to see some proper combat action. He looks at his partner, teasing him about how his master is ready to show him the real secret behind the parry system. He draws his practice pole with a sharp swish, the cold steel reflecting under the bright sun of the training lobby. Alpaca is completely stunned by his calm, confident demeanor, noting that his guest does not look nervous at all in front of 20,000 people. He realizes that Seojun is not just trying to survive, he's actually genuinely enjoying the thrill of the live broadcast. Alpaca holds his hands together in a polite bow, begging his master to please teach him the secrets of the parry. Seojun laughs and taps his shoulder, telling him, alright, he will do what he can. He steps onto the training stage, announcing that first they are going to jump into the game so he can coach Alpaca inside a live run. He smiles confidently, telling the audience that their clear or die promise is guaranteed to continue until success. He opens his status menu, only to find he has exactly 0 points spent in his combat skill tree. Alpaca stares at his profile in complete disbelief, screaming to ask who grinds barehanded with 0 skills nowadays. Seojun scratches his cheek, looking completely innocent as he asks if spending skill points is actually mandatory in this game. Back on stream, Alpaca makes an incredibly funny face, looking completely flustered as he tries to explain why he made that crazy bet. He turns to his partner, nervously asking why on earth he decided to jump straight into hell difficulty without allocating any skill points. Seojun gives a relaxed smile, calmly explaining that he simply did not use his skill points because he did not even know how. He stands confidently in his starting gear, while the stream chat goes absolutely wild with excited comments. Alpaca checks his stream dashboard, sweating as his live viewer count rapidly hits a staggering 25,000 concurrents. He clenches his fists, muttering that the stream is officially popping off as he prepares to introduce the next segment. He pulls up the viral clip on the lobby screen, showing the precise moment Seojun parried the guards using a basic wooden pipe. The video shows his character cleanly deflecting a series of heavy sword strikes with millisecond precision. With a final parry, Seojun breaks the guard's weapon in half, the clean shatter confirming his flawless timing. Alpaca points at the clip, telling his chat that Nameless's reaction speed is easily S tier. A holographic prompt pops up, displaying the unlock conditions for a hidden skill called weak point detection. His chat is highly amused, with a viewer commenting on how hyped Alpaca is to teach his master. Alpaca explains that everyone in the game knows the basic concept of grain, a critical mechanic in fantasy combat novels. He raises a finger, explaining that the grain represents a weak point where an object's structural integrity can be easily sliced apart. If you manage to find and strike 10 of these grains, you will successfully unlock the legendary weak point detection skill. He raises 2 fingers, noting that so far, only a total of 2 grains have ever been discovered and documented on the forums. The first is the accidentally broken rapier they saw in the viral tutorial video. The second is the grain of a standard longsword, which was discovered by a high-level player through a complex subquest NPC. Alpaca crosses his arms, noting that since most players have no idea how this hidden skill works, finding grains is considered practically impossible. But then he smiles and announces that his master claims he actually knows the secret rule behind the grain. Chibi drawings show Alpaca proudly presenting Seo Jun to the cheering crowd. His chat floods with skeptical comments, with several veteran players claiming he is simply bluffing to get some quick clout. He waves his hands, telling the chat to calm down because they are about to put his claims to the test. He announces that they are going to make a massive bet on whether Seo Jun can find a new grain during today's livestream. He pulls up the channel point system, displaying the gold coin piles representing the viewer's active bets. The system allows viewers to accumulate points by watching the stream and use them to place predictions on the broadcast content. A massive banner announces that the official channel point prediction segment will now officially begin. Alpaca reads out the betting options, which range from he won't find anything to he'll find 4 or more grains today. A viewer posts a message asking who on earth would be crazy enough to bet on the underdog option of finding 4 grains. Alpaca smiles and explains the basic difference. While a safe bet has high probability but a low payout, betting on the underdog can earn you a massive 100-fold return. He pulls up the current betting stats, showing that a whopping 95% of viewers are putting their points on the safe 0 grains option. Seeing the one-sided stats, Seo Jun looks at his console, telling his viewers that if they bet on 4 or more, they are guaranteed 100 times payout today. His chat is highly amused, with a viewer sending a massive 10,000 won donation, joking that they are putting all their points on the master. He gives a warm, confident smile, promising that his viewers' trust is absolutely not going to go to waste. The scene transitions to nighttime, showing a grand brightly lit mansion under a full moon. 2 figures stealthily navigate the courtyard, their footsteps silent on the paved stone floor. Suddenly, a guard spots a rustle in the bushes, aiming his sword and groaning in surprise as a figure dashes past. The guard lunges forward, but the intruder parries the strike with an iron pole, sending a flash of blue energy across the screen. The defeated guard falls to his knees, begging the young master for mercy and admitting he was completely wrong. Seo Jun stands over the groveling guard, his practice weapon resting on his shoulder, with absolute calm. The guard captain yells in fury, raising his flaming sword to strike down the intruder. But as the captain dashes forward, a cold glowing blade is suddenly pressed against his neck from the shadows. A system message reveals that this elite guard captain is actually Louis Neville, the son of the powerful ruler who controls this district. Seeing the boss, Alpaca asks his partner if they should test the captain's skills first before finishing him. He draws his own practice sword, a glowing green interface confirming the stats of his equipped gear. In a flash of movement, Alpaca dashes forward, launching a swift overhead strike to engage the boss. He explains to his chat that recreating the parry from the tutorial video is significantly harder than a normal defense. But just as Alpaca attacks, the guard captain parries his blade with an intense golden shockwave of energy. Alpaca is completely taken aback by the speed of the counter, his eyes widening in shock. The boss's heavy swing connects with his shield, shattering his defensive stance and sending him crashing to the floor with a loud boom. A system notification pops up, confirming that his parry attempt has failed and his health bar is critically low. His chat is in absolute stitches, with a viewer commenting on how difficult the hell difficulty parry actually is. Stepping up to face the boss, Seo Jun calmly notes that Alpaca's failed parry was simply due to poor posture. He smiles warmly, telling Alpaca that he's going to show him how to cleanly execute a perfect manual parry. Alpaca looks at him in disbelief, asking what on earth he means by that. Seo Jun gives a calm, knowing smile, declaring that the rule he thought of for finding the grain is completely correct. His chat is highly amused, with a viewer commenting to calm down and sharing screenshots of his previous parry records. Suddenly, a guard captain shouts to alert the others, screaming that a dangerous intruder has appeared. Seo Jun simply nods, raising his practice stick as he prepares to meet the incoming squad. He explains that every weapon has a physical weak point, a structural seam that can be cleanly broken with enough force. In his mind, an illustration of an ancient Shaolin master appears, explaining the spiritual concept of finding the opponent's center of balance. Despite not being a monk in his past life, his immense martial prowess allows him to still execute a similar high-level technique. He explains that to find the grain, you must focus not on the weapon itself, but on the pure intention of the fighter wielding it. He closes his eyes in the middle of the battlefield, prompting several confused comments from his stream chat. In a split second, he swings his practice stick, intercepting the guard's sword at the exact critical angle. The heavy iron shield of the guard captain cracks under the immense pressure of his strike, sending a massive shockwave across the floor. With a clean horizontal slash, he systematically shatters the guard's shield into pieces. He pivots behind the guard, leaving a bright white trail of energy as he prepares the final strike. Alpaca watches from the sidelines, completely speechless as he witnesses his master's flawless combat flow. The guard's health bar instantly drops to 0, and the system confirms the elite defender has been defeated. With a final decisive spin, Seo-jun sheathes his practice weapon, a brilliant pink light surrounding his avatar. Alpaca stands completely frozen, his eyes wide in utter disbelief as the victory screen loads. His chat window explodes with hyped comments, with several viewers calling him an absolute monster and a gaming god. The system screen glows with a brilliant blue alert, confirming a new historic record has been established on the server. Alpaca grips his head in complete shock, screaming, asking how on earth he did that. He points at the monitor, noting that Seo-jun successfully located and struck the hidden grain with his eyes closed. A viewer sends a donation, jokingly complaining that this scripted act is completely disgusting. Seo-jun simply chuckles, looking directly at the camera with a smug, knowing smile as the stream continues to trend. Back on stream, Alpaca is completely flustered. He is practically screaming at his chat as they start calling his live parry run a total fake. He desperately defends himself, yelling that there is absolutely zero scripting or fake content on his broadcast. One viewer jokes that his regular fans are so pissed off about this supposedly rigged run that they want a formal apology. He looks over at his partner and admits that even he thought Seo-jun was just bluffing up until a few minutes ago. The chat fills with demands for an apology as the completely manufactured drama escalates. Seo-jun just shrugs. He calmly asks if everyone complaining in chat is actually part of the tiny 1% who bet on him finding 4 grains. He pulls up the channel point predictions, exposing the microscopic fraction of users who actually chose the underdog option. Viewers are genuinely stunned to realize that his crazy claims are actually real. The chat window lights up with pure shock as everyone realizes they just completely failed their point predictions together. Seo-jun smiles and keeps the flow of the stream incredibly smooth while relentlessly teasing his viewers about their lost points. Watching his partner work the crowd, Alpaca is deeply impressed by how natural and confident he is in front of the camera. He realizes Seo-jun is not just cracked at the game. The guy has a serious natural talent for live streaming too. Alpaca sighs in relief. He finally realizes he does not need to force himself to lead the show because his guest has everything totally under control. He turns to his partner and asks the million-dollar question. How on earth did he manage to execute those parries with a basic starter weapon? He points out that half the chat is convinced he secretly built a custom high-level skill set off-screen. Seo-jun smiles and calmly explains that he is just an average guy in his 20s with absolutely zero secret builds. He raises a hand and officially introduces himself as Jin Seo-jun, claiming he is just a travel streamer who got incredibly lucky. His stream console flashes with rising metrics as thousands of new followers flood right into his channel. He assures his viewers that what they are seeing is his real face. Zero character editors are involved here. Chibi chat bubbles pop up as viewers swoon, calling him a true pretty boy with a flawless natural look. A viewer drops a 10,001 donation just to complain that his handsome looks are completely unfair. Another user chimes in to confirm they saw his in-person photos, and the guy is absolutely legit. Chibi drawings show Alpaca looking totally exhausted and defeated as his own chat continues to ruthlessly roast him. He clutches his chest in dramatic betrayal, crying that his fans are completely ignoring his gameplay just to simp for his guest. Alpaca asks his partner if they should officially start banning the toxic trolls who keep spamming the chat. Seo-jun tells him to let it slide for now. He knows that he always has the ultimate conversational tool in his back pocket anyway, which is a permanent ban. A viewer points out how his manager literally walked in with a knife earlier to show his hardcore support. Alpaca claps his hands together, announcing to the massive audience that it is finally time to get back to the actual game. He looks right at his partner and asks how on earth he managed to locate those hidden grains on a boss like Drake. Alpaca admits that he honestly was not seeing any magical knots or glowing weak points during that entire fight. Seo-jun just smiles. He tells him that is simply because he did not look at the boss's movement patterns correctly. He notes that finding the grain is a secret that requires reading the opponent's true intent. That kind of insight is a major part of his martial training. His chat spams with laughing comments as they watch Alpaca's face completely wilt from this insanely complex explanation. Alpaca practically begs him to have some mercy and share a little bit of that god-tier wisdom with a struggling streamer. Seojun smiles warmly. He tells him that he simply tried to think about what the game developers would have done in that exact situation. Alpaca stares at him in sheer disbelief, asking if he seriously managed to read the developer's intent based on just a few tutorial examples. A replay clip of his duel with the AI flashes on screen. It highlights the precise timing of his parry as he deflects the strike with extreme accuracy. He breaks it down perfectly. A normal parry is just meant to help players clean up trash mobs, but the hidden grain system is specifically designed for boss fights. He pulls up a detailed diagram of the combat options, finding that not is the only way to deal real high-tier damage to a ruler. Because the boss difficulty is so extreme, you cannot just parry your way through their massive health pools. You have to find their specific weak point and strike it at the exact critical angle to break their posture. With the lesson over, Seojun confidently announces that he is going straight for the next ruler of the zone. Chibi drawings show the chat screaming in panic, begging him to farm some more gear before attempting another major boss. He just smiles and tells him to calm down. His underdog bet of finding 4 grains is still completely on. He turns to his partner and asks if they can open another channel point prediction for this next boss fight. A new prediction menu pops up, asking the viewers if Jin Seojun can successfully break a ruler's equipment today. He grins at the camera, telling his viewers to stick with him because he is about to put on a real show. The game loads with a massive flash of blue light as he connects to the next combat zone. He walks down a dark, narrow street, his footsteps completely silent on the cold cobblestone floor. Suddenly, a powerful warrior in heavy plate armor leaps down from a high balcony, blocking his path with a massive sword. The system confirms the boss's identity as Ruler Richard Neville, the fierce leader of the Royalist faction. Neville lets out a booming roar and charges forward in a blind rage, raising his giant sword to avenge his son. Seojun reacts instantly, casually parrying the heavy overhead swing with his wooden practice stick. A spectacular shower of yellow sparks erupts as their weapons clash, lighting up the entire street. The force of the parry pushes Neville back. His eyes widen in surprise as he gasps in shock. Neville swings his sword in a wide, sweeping arc, but Seojun easily jumps backward to evade the massive strike. Alpaca sweats in panic on the sidelines, wondering if his partner can actually find the hidden knot on a boss this strong. With only 2 minutes left on the clock, Seojun knows he needs to find that weak point fast to break the boss's posture. He delivers a swift horizontal swipe, his practice stick emitting a bright white trail of speed. Alpaca screams in panic, warning him to watch his back as the boss launches another devastating horizontal strike. But Seojun simply tilts his body, evading the heavy blade with effortless grace while taunting the boss. He grips his practice stick with both hands. His golden eyes lock onto the tiny cracks in Neville's heavy plate armor. With a sharp swish, he prepares to unleash a decisive strike, muttering that it is time to find out for sure. He swings his stick. The wooden weapon glows with an intense white aura as it meets the boss's giant sword directly. A spectacular blinding flash of light fills the entire screen as the two weapons critically clash. Neville bellows in rage, screaming that his heavy steel sword is completely indestructible and will never break under such a weak strike. But Seojun maintains his grip, pressing his practice weapon directly against the single cracked seam of the boss's blade. With a resounding crack, a massive shockwave of golden energy erupts. Neville's indestructible sword shatters into a million pieces. Seeing the broken blade, Alpaca stands completely speechless before screaming at the top of his lungs that he actually nailed it. The defeated boss stumbles backward, his weapon completely destroyed as a bright flash of light surrounds him. A holographic system prompt pops up, confirming he just successfully cleared the second part of his weakness detection quest. The system tracks his consecutive successful parries, displaying his progress at a highly impressive 9 out of 10. Seojun stands victoriously as the elite boss slowly dissolves into glowing particles of light. The chat is in complete and utter chaos, with viewers screaming and demanding to know what just happened. The final hit prompt flashes on screen, confirming he has officially reached his goal of 10 consecutive perfect strikes. A giant golden notification pops up on his visor. The legendary weak point detection skill has been officially unlocked. Seojun smiles warmly, his eyes glowing with genuine excitement as the combat system powers down. He lowers his practice stick and lets out a soft sigh, casually muttering that it was his mistake. Back in the real world, the capsule's glass visor slides open with a soft hiss, and Seojun exhales a deep breath. He sits up from the pod, rubbing his neck as Alpaca rushes over, bowing dramatically at a 90-degree angle. Alpaca shouts out, completely showing his deep respect for his new master and praising his amazing work today. He stays bowed, thanking Seojun profusely for letting him use his top-tier capsule for the stream. Alpaca admits that he learned a massive amount from this experience, looking extremely eager to continue their collab. Seo-jun blinks, slightly startled by his roommate Tai-woo, who walks into the room with a highly amused smile. Tai-woo stands in the doorway, eating snacks and teasingly asking them if they are done with their dramatic master and disciple ceremony. Seo-jun gets up from the capsule, admitting that his roommate has been lurking in the room this entire time. Alpaca's chat window pops up, with several viewers commenting that the roommate's timing is absolutely golden. Alpaca turns to the camera, sweat dropping as he tells his viewers to shut up and stop teasing him. He stands in front of his console, his virtual avatar making a frustrated chibi expression on the side. He gets a devious grin, announcing to his chat that they are officially ready to transition into the next highly exciting segment of the show. He waves his arms, telling the audience to welcome the one and only Jin Seo-jun as he prepares his grand camera introduction. He slides the camera window open, presenting his guest directly to the thousands of active viewers. Chibi drawings show the chat going completely wild, with viewers commenting and praising his handsome real face. A gorgeous profile of Seo-jun appears on screen, confirming he is a travel streamer with striking natural-born good looks. Seo-jun gives a polite, warm smile to the cameras, introducing himself simply as streamer Jin Seo-jun. The system renders his livestream feed, displaying several graphics highlighting his flawless, handsome facial features. His camera feed continues to scroll fast, with several new viewers asking if he used any special character editors or facial filters. Alpaca is highly amused, telling his chat that what they are seeing is indeed his real face, with 0 character editors involved. A viewer sends a donation, commenting that they are highly jealous of his incredibly handsome looks. A cute graphic shows Alpaca screaming in panic as a viewer comments that his companion looks way better than him on camera. The chat continues to tease Alpaca, posting a cartoon of him getting knocked out and telling him to quit while he can. Alpaca sighs, deciding to wrap up the stream and suggesting they go grab a nice meal together to celebrate. Seo-jun smiles and agrees, telling his viewers that they are heading out for a group dinner after a highly successful broadcast. A viewer comments that they are indeed running away after a quick legendary run. A giant donation banner pops up on screen as a user sends a generous 50,000 won donation to show their support. The chat window displays a series of heart animations, with a viewer commenting that they love him, which leaves Seo-jun slightly embarrassed. Another viewer sends another 50,000 won donation, filling the screen with bright celebratory graphics. Seo-jun checks his status console, seeing several comments from new followers who are completely hooked by his parry guides. He reviews the final combat footage, confirming his parry on the elite guard was indeed highly precise. The tutorial guide displays Drake's combat specifications, showing that his movements were designed to test top-tier reflexes. He smiles warmly, telling his new followers that if they want to see more high-level combat guides, they should tune in tomorrow. He claps his hands, announcing to the audience that they are officially moving on to their live Q&A segment. His chat window floods with questions, with a viewer asking what the mysterious Shard of Order item is actually used for. Chibi drawings show Seo-jun shrugging, admitting that since the item is extremely rare, he currently does not really know himself. The scene transitions to the local barbecue restaurant, showing a thick, juicy steak sizzling on the hot grill. Alpaca is shown in high spirits, pointing at himself and happily shouting that he will pay for the meal today. The others are highly amused, with several comments noting how quickly Alpaca went from being a rival to a dedicated disciple. Sitting at the restaurant table, Alpaca asks Tai-woo how on earth they managed to become friends in high school. Tai-woo laughs, recalling their school days and explaining that they have been close friends since their freshman year. A chat bubble shows a user commenting that they are highly surprised to find the legendary master is actually Tai-woo's old high school roommate. A viewer sends a donation, asking his roommate to share some funny, embarrassing stories about the master. Tai-woo leans closer, whispering to the camera that he knows several highly embarrassing secrets about Seo-jun's daily life. Seo-jun looks at him, sweat dropping, as he quickly tells his roommate to hold his tongue and stop spreading nonsense. A viewer comments that they want a funny, legendary roommate story, prompting Tai-woo to grin mischievously. Tai-woo starts telling a story about how Seo-jun is actually a highly bizarre, eccentric person in real life. A chibi illustration shows a story where Seo-jun washed his waterproof phone with actual soap, leaving Tai-woo completely stunned. The illustration continues, showing how Seo-jun also tried to clean his capsule's interior using a tiny hand fan, looking highly eccentric. Another chibi drawing shows Tai-woo completely face-palming at his roommate's bizarre old-fashioned habits. Back at the restaurant, the group is shown enjoying their delicious barbecue, laughing and chatting in a warm atmosphere. A funny chibi graphic shows several comment bubbles, with viewers commenting that the master's ancient personality is actually incredibly charming. They finish their meal, leaving several empty bowls and plates on the table as Alpaca thanks them for the wonderful time. Alpaca turns to Seo-jun, bowing slightly and thanking him again for the incredibly helpful coaching session. Seo-jun smiles and shakes his hand, telling Alpaca that he worked hard today and was a highly cooperative partner. Alpaca asks him if he has thought about officially starting his own streaming channel on the platform. Seo-jun replies that he is still highly inexperienced and has a lot to learn about modern streaming. Soo-han slaps his hand on the table, confidently declaring that the first thing a rising streamer needs is a highly skilled editor. Soo-han offers his services, telling Seo-jun that if he is okay with it, he can officially introduce him to a professional designer. Seo-jun looks at him, slightly surprised by his sudden, highly enthusiastic offer of support. Back in his room after the massive barbecue dinner, Seo-jun pops open a cold can of soda with a sharp click. He takes a long, refreshing drink, enjoying the quiet evening after a highly chaotic day of streaming. He leans against the balcony railing, looking out over the city under the dark, starry sky. He sighs, muttering to himself and wondering if he really needs to start a dedicated video channel on the platform. In the living room, Taewoo and Soo-han are shown huddled around a laptop, deeply discussing their stream strategy. Soo-han stands up, confidently declaring that with proper editing, Seo-jun's channel is guaranteed to grow even bigger. He notes that their starting revenue is actually pretty decent, but warns that how well a channel does depends heavily on the editor. Soo-han crosses his arms, explaining that capsule games are not like regular games, so finding a good video editor is extremely rare. Seo-jun walks into the room, curiously asking Soo-han how on earth he ended up becoming Alpaca's primary editor. Soo-han smiles, explaining that he actually started out as a regular boring office worker. In his free time, he happened to catch one of Alpaca's early low-level broadcasts. He saw that while the streamer clearly had immense potential, he never uploaded highlights, so his channel was basically dead. He figured the channel was easily salvageable, so he decided to take the initiative and reach out to Alpaca first. Taewoo laughs, noting that Alpaca was indeed deep in his struggling small streamer era back then, even quitting his job to stream full-time. Soo-han grins, admitting that he was absolutely sure Alpaca was eventually going to blow up and become a star. Chibi drawings show Alpaca making a proud, smug face, while Taewoo continues to tease him. Looking out at the evening sky, Seo-jun reflects on how crucial a good editor is for a rising creator's success. He checks his phone, seeing a trending banner on the platform confirming that to truly succeed as a streamer, a video channel is basically mandatory. The banner displays a highlight clip of Shin Ha-yeon's championship match, which has already racked up over 700,000 views. Seeing her golden trophy on screen, his competitive drive is instantly ignited once again. He recalls his original plan to quit capsule games as soon as he managed to obtain a high-level capsule for himself, but he admits that streaming turned out to be significantly more fun and exciting than he ever expected. A chibi thought bubble shows him laughing and hanging out with his new stream followers, completely enjoying the community. He looks down at his soda can, asking himself if he was actually just lonely before starting this journey. He clutches his soda, staring down at the quiet street below in deep self-reflection. The cool night wind blows through his hair as he murmurs that maybe he was. He looks down at a beautiful cherry blossom tree in the courtyard, the falling petals reminding him of his home. He reflects on how remembering his past life is like having a distant hometown, a place he can yearn for, but can never actually return to. A brief vision of his past self as the legendary sword god appears, standing peacefully in a cherry blossom forest. He shakes his head, tossing the empty soda can into the trash bin and deciding to just let it go. The next morning, the sun shines brightly over a massive state-of-the-art sports complex in the city center. Inside, a busy boxing gym is shown, with several fighters training hard inside the rings. Two fighters trade heavy punches, their gloves making loud popping sounds as they spar under the watchful eyes of their coaches. An intense-looking boxing coach with short black hair watches the ring, looking highly strict. A young red-haired fighter named Lee Dong-soo is shown jogging on a treadmill, looking completely exhausted. He pants heavily, shouting to his coach to ask how much longer he has to stay on the treadmill. The coach crosses his arms, sternly reminding Dong-soo that he has only been training here for 2 weeks, so he needs to focus on his endurance. Dong-soo grumbles, complaining that doing constant endurance drills and treadmill training is absolute overkill. He points out that his coach told him to get some real practical combat experience, which is why he came to this gym. He whines, complaining that at this rate, he will still be stuck on this treadmill by the time next year's tournament starts. A funny chibi graphic shows him crying and throwing a tantrum on the floor, begging to learn some real live combat skills. The coach sighs, completely done with his complaining, and finally agrees to let him do a light sparring match today. The coach tells him he can choose his own opponent from the gym members present today. Dong-soo instantly brightens up, jumping in excitement and shouting for everyone to come at him. Suddenly, a sharp-looking young man with brown hair walks into the gym, immediately catching Dong-soo's attention. Dong-soo stops in his tracks, staring at the newcomer with a look of pure shock. He watches the man walk toward the lockers, a bead of sweat forming on his forehead. He narrows his eyes, whispering to himself in disbelief, wondering if that is the guy from the viral video. A flashback shows a chibi version of the red-haired fighter getting completely blasted by the boss during his own stream. Chibi drawings show the coach explaining that even Shin Ha-yeon was impressed by the newcomer's flawless parry reflexes. Dong-soo clutches his head, admitting that he honestly did not think the newbie was actually that good in real life. He stares at the dark-haired player, wondering how a small, unknown streamer managed to end up training at their gym. Seo-jun stands by the locker, putting on a clean white towel and preparing to start his workout. Chibi drawings show Dong-soo analyzing his build, noting that the newcomer looks about his size and does not seem to have much muscle. A chibi version of Dong-soo raises a fist, confidently deciding that he can definitely handle this guy in a fistfight. The coach walks over and asks Dong-soo if he has finally chosen his opponent for the sparring match. The coach leans closer, sternly warning him that sparring is not about knocking the other guy down, it is about checking your own technique. He glares at Dong-soo, telling him to make sure he minds his manners and does not get carried away. Dong-soo nods nervously, sweat dropping as he quickly agrees to stay relaxed. He points over at Seo-jun, asking his coach if he can spar with that guy over there. The coach looks at him in surprise, pointing out that asking someone he has never met before to spar is incredibly rude and out of line. The coach immediately apologizes to Seo-jun, bowing slightly to show his respect. He tells Seo-jun that his student is acting incredibly rude, but Seo-jun simply smiles and waves it off. Seo-jun looks at the red-haired fighter, noting that he just heard he wants to spar with him. The coach's eyes widen, completely surprised by how easily the guest accepted the sudden challenge. Seo-jun steps onto the training mat, casually asking the kid if he wants to spar with him. Dong-soo brightens up, happily replying that he would love to, and asks if he is indeed the streamer Jin Seo-jun. Seo-jun nods, asking the kid how on earth he managed to recognize him so quickly in real life. Dong-soo replies that he watched his stream yesterday, and asks if he can call on Big Brother. Seo-jun simply tells him to do what he wants. The two step inside the boxing ring, wearing their protective headgear and padded sparring gloves. Seo-jun tightens his gloves, politely telling the kid that he is actually pretty good at the game. Dong-soo grins confidently behind his red headgear, replying that he is still not as good as him though. Seo-jun narrows his eyes slightly under his blue headgear, a competitive spark igniting as he realizes exactly what kind of kid he is dealing with. A chibi drawing shows the gym members panicking, realizing that Dong-soo has no idea who he is actually messing with. Chibi drawings show the coach facepalming, grumbling that his arrogant student is about to get a very painful lesson. Dong-soo steps forward, raising his guard and confidently telling Seo-jun that this is a huge honor for him. He boasts that he will show him how a real pro fights, screaming as he launches a fast jab. Seo-jun easily sidesteps the incoming punch, his headgear moving in a blur as he gets ready to deliver a clean counter. Seo-jun steps into the gap, his eyes focusing on the opening as he whispers that he will mind his manners and take it easy. With a swift horizontal swing, he delivers a light, incredibly fast jab directly to Dong-soo's face. The punch lands with a clean impact, the force of the strike sending the red-haired fighter stumbling backward. A custom key visual of the game appears on screen, displaying a cool character and signaling the successful end of the chapter. Back on stream, the camera pans to a beautiful view of the city center under a bright blue sky. Seo-jun is walking down the street next to an older, distinguished-looking man. This is Jin Ha-jun, Seo-jun's father and a hardcore PC gamer. Jun takes a sip from his drink, gently telling his son that he really could have gone a little easier on that red-haired kid back at the gym. Seo-jun simply replies that from the look of the kid's body and reflexes, he was clearly just a normal civilian with zero martial training. He watches a replay of their sparring match on his phone, analyzing how the kid's footwork was still on the weak side. Ha-jun chuckles and asks him how his streaming channel has been going lately. He admits that his mother was highly against it at first, but now that they know it is a safe job, they are both highly supportive. Seo-jun smiles, noting that streaming actually turned out to be much easier and more enjoyable than he ever expected. A brief memory shows Taewoo talking with their parents, explaining how incredibly difficult it is for new streamers to even get a single active viewer. Walking down the busy sidewalk, Ha-jun reveals that he has actually done some research of his own. He shows his son a promotional poster of an old-school strategy game, suggesting he try playing it on his next stream. Seo-jun gets a sweat drop, asking his father if a classic game like that is even popular among modern viewers anymore. Jun grins, explaining that a master player can make any classic game extremely fun and engaging for the audience. He adjusts his glasses, asking his son how many active followers his new channel currently has. Seo-jun replies that he had around 400 yesterday, but is guessing a few more might have tuned in since the collab. He checks his phone, only to freeze in complete shock as his dashboard reveals his follower count has suddenly leaped to over 3,000. A funny graphic shows a bunch of bananas representing his viral stream, emphasizing just how quickly his channel is starting to trend. He scrolls through the community boards, seeing that every post about his pipe killer run is easily breaking 30 upvotes. The trending board is filled with discussion threads about the mysterious, nameless player, with users hyping up his inhuman reflexes. Returning to his apartment, Seo-jun lies back down on his bed, completely overwhelmed by the sudden flood of attention. He gets a notification from Taiwoo's channel, seeing a message from his roommate telling him to immediately check out the latest forum posts. He opens the main community board, finding a highly rated thread discussing the mechanics of his parries on Drake. He scrolls down, his expression becoming serious as he reads the detailed analysis written by the veteran players. A chibi drawing shows Taiwoo laughing and celebrating, while the forum users are actively debating whether Nameless is actually a hacker or a pro. A wanted poster overlay pops up, displaying a list of comments reporting his stream for suspicious godlike parry mechanics. Seo-jun sighs, realizing that his unrecommended playstyle with the heavy pull has indeed attracted several toxic trolls and haters. He checks his system logs, noting that despite the hate, several active viewers are begging him to launch a clarification stream. A system notification pops up in his vision, confirming that several pro-level players have joined to watch his channel. He presses the start button on his console, initiating his third official broadcast with a simple title about turning himself in. He logs into his dashboard, shocked to find his live viewer count has already rapidly climbed past 1,500 concurrents. Meanwhile, inside Movisoft Korea's headquarters, a furious manager slams his hand on the desk, his face red with anger. He screams at his developers, demanding to know why the hidden weak point detection skill was already unlocked by a player. He points out that the skill was specifically designed and structured to take at least a full month of intensive grinding to unlock. He paces around the room, shouting that the game is a massive project and they cannot afford to have random players breaking their progression curve. A funny chibi graphic shows the developer sweating and panicking, trying to explain that the player simply bypassed the limits. The head developer calmly tells the manager not to get too mad because nobody could have expected a player to figure out the hidden grains so quickly. The manager turns around, demanding to know what exactly they are planning to do about this game-breaking player. The head developer opens his laptop, suggesting they take a close look at the recorded stream footage first. He clicks play on the media player, announcing that they have the official video of Nameless cleanly breaking the grains on Drake. The video shows Seo-jun's character standing calmly on the theater stage as Drake prepares to launch his ultimate chain strike. The parry is perfect, the clean deflection sending the boss's weapons clattering to the floor. Stunned by the footage, the manager watches with wide eyes, sweating as he mutters and asks how in the world that even makes sense. He asks his head developer if they are absolutely sure this was not some kind of hidden system bug that gave him the skill. A screen shows a forum post by a player who became a dedicated fan of Nameless, explaining the exact physical and mechanical rules of the parry. The developer confirms they checked the system logs multiple times and can say with absolute certainty that the player is definitely not a cheater. Chibi drawings show the manager pulling his hair out in frustration, crying about how his perfect planning has been completely shattered by a single rookie. He turns to his head developer with a dark, menacing glare, demanding to know what they are going to do about the next zone's boss. Chibi drawings show the developers bickering, while the manager grumbles about how their entire marketing strategy is completely ruined. Chibi drawings show the head developer explaining the structural details of the rare Shard of Order item. He notes that the shard was meant to be a hidden Easter egg to hint at the lore of their upcoming title. Once a player manages to collect all the hidden fragments, a short legendary chain quest will automatically unlock on the server. This exclusive questline is titled Fragments of Chaos, showing a dark, cool assassin silhouette on screen. The developer slides the video timeline forward, pointing out that at this exact timing, another high-level player has entered the zone. We see the silhouette of a mysterious warrior standing under a full moon, ready to drop the teaser trailer of the game. A screen displays the profile of a veteran pro player who is hired to design the competitive combat metrics for the tournament. The developer explains that their perfect balance calculations were completely shattered by Seo-jun's manual Rampage run. Chibi drawings show the manager slumping onto his couch in deep despair, grumbling about how much budget they spent on making that teaser. He asks his developer how long it took them to design and test that complex boss difficulty. The developer replies it took a month. The manager glares at him, growling that they need to start working overtime today and push as hard as they can to patch the server. He asks what the actual odds are of a single streamer gathering all the shards of order on his own within a week. The head developer smiles confidently, clenching his fists and declaring that those odds are practically zero. A chibi graphic shows the developer giving a big, bright thumb up, fully confident in his security patch. He boasts that the patch is guaranteed to be 100% successful, and there is absolutely no way the player can bypass it. But his explanation is cut short by a sudden massive rumble shaking the entire corporate office building. The manager turns to him with an absolutely furious, terrifying look on his face, his veins popping as he prepares to scream. A cartoonish graphic shows the manager screaming for his developers to get out, sending them scrambling out of the office in pure panic. Back in his room, Seojun checks his capsule console, ready to log in and face whatever new challenges the developers have prepared for him. Back inside his lab office, Eve lies back in his chair with a deep, exhausted sigh. He opens his laptop, rewatching the recorded video clip of the mysterious new player with wide sweat-filled eyes. He grips his temples in frustration, muttering under his breath and wondering how he actually managed to do that. He stares closely at the screen, completely baffled by the flawless precision of Seojun's manual parry reflexes. He pauses the video at the exact moment of the clash, muttering that they really just have to admit this guy is a total anomaly. He clicks play again, watching the clip rack up over 100,000 views in a single day as the video goes viral. The video shows Nameless leaping off a high Gothic balcony, his dark cloak rustling as the view count continues to rise. Eve pauses the video, staring at the detailed wanted poster and realizing that Nameless is systematically clearing their hardest unrecommended quests. He scrolls down to the forum comments, where users are actively praising his godlike manual pike killer parries on Drake. A replay clip shows Seojun's character easily deflecting multiple guards, his stance looking incredibly calm and cool. Eve rubs his chin, admitting that the manual route he designed was specifically built to challenge hardcore players. But he never expected a player to completely expose their complex security features and parry algorithms like this. He glares at his laptop, checking his watch and realizing that it is already way past midnight. He stretches in his chair, muttering that it has been a long time since he felt this satisfied, watching someone enjoy the game. Seeing players find these completely unexpected workarounds is exactly why he poured his entire soul into designing the game. A photograph shows the original development team bickering, highlighting the passion and hard work they put into building their world. A wide, nostalgic smile slowly spreads across Eve's face as he reflects on their journey. A stream graphic pops up, officially announcing that his new channel has already reached a staggering 1,700 active followers. Seojun logs into his stream dashboard, a small smile forming on his face as he prepares to launch his next broadcast. He presses the start button on his console, and a bright live indicator glows on his stream visor. His digital avatar materializes on stage, welcoming his viewers with a bright, cheerful greeting. His chat window immediately explodes with messages, with several new followers calling him the Assassin Master. The chat spams with excitement as several users start sharing a funny meme of him riding a white horse surrounded by fish. Seojun gets a sweat drop, chuckling at his chat's hilarious chaotic energy as the stream begins. He looks directly at the camera, welcoming his viewers and making sure everyone is ready. A viewer chat comments that his underdog bet on finding 4 grains today has officially locked in. His chat overlays display several users warning him that the final level guards are incredibly tough and will completely wreck him. Chibi drawings show Alpaca proudly welcoming the new moderators, promising to keep the stream clean and helpful for new viewers. Chibi drawings show them setting up their stream layout, with a warning sign reminding them that the rules must be respected. Seojun opens his console, preparing to load into the main combat zone of Chapter 20. The system interface flashes, displaying his rising viewer engagement metrics as his new followers flood into the room. He reflects on his performance, admitting that some people are highly suspicious about how he easily found those hidden knots or grains. A funny cartoon shows him making an annoyed, sweat-filled face, while a viewer comments that his toxic attitude is actually S tier. He checks his profile, admitting that since he did not explain much on stream, he is sorry for leaving them so confused. He pulls up his dashboard, showing a chibi graphic of his blank, relaxed expression. He displays the support ticket he sent to the developers, asking them to verify if his parry actions are completely legitimate. He checks the developer's official reply, which confirms his manual parry timing was indeed completely frame-perfect. He smiles and tells his chat that settles the explanation, so they can finally jump straight into the game. His digital avatar draws his blade, a notification popping up in the corner of his vision. The system logs show his first official main quest from the developers, Dawn of the Assassination Squad Chapter 20. A giant, glowing blue visual of a high-tech mage appears, introducing the powerful ruler who controls the next zone. A tutorial prompt explains that to clear this area, he needs to infiltrate the Grand Mage Tower and bypass their security. Seojun rubs his chin thoughtfully, admitting that this high-level magical security is indeed going to be a massive challenge. He scrolls down, seeing a forum post warning that this boss fight has a legendary payout, but is considered practically impossible to solo. A chibi graphic shows him standing on the stage, looking completely relaxed, while his viewers panic in the comments. He gets a sharp, deadly focus in his eyes, as his character prepares to enter the grand gates of the Mage Tower. The system loading screen flashes, displaying a cartoonish warning about the incoming danger. A massive blue flash of magical light erupts as the main gates of the tower slowly grind open. He steps into the grand hall, surrounded by swirling blue magical circles and ancient sigils. A gorgeous panorama reveals the majestic towering spires of the Mage Tower, stretching into the night sky. A system guide introduces the area. The Mage Tower is a grand citadel ruled entirely by elite high-level mages. At the absolute top of the tower stands the ruler of this district, the powerful and ruthless Tower Master Duke. The guide shows the silhouette of Duke holding his magical staff, surrounded by a dark aura of absolute power. Moving stealthily past the columns, Seo Jun tracks the patrol route of the armored guards. A guard captain spots a rustle in the shadows, his eyes glowing red as he shouts to alert the others. Chibi drawings show the guard captain getting extremely panicked as a figure dashes past him. Seo Jun easily slips past his defense, heading straight up the grand spiral staircase toward the upper levels. His chat is highly amused, with a viewer commenting that his direct, honorable combat approach is absolutely wild. Another viewer notes that he is completely ignoring the stealth tutorial and just running straight through the main path. He smiles and replies that taking the safe, sneaky path is way too boring, and he would rather make a loud, exciting entrance. His chat is in complete stitches, with comments laughing at how he is casually overcoming the hell difficulty level. He reaches the grand doors of the 4th floor, pushing them open with a loud creak. He steps into the grand auditorium where a massive crowd of elite mages is gathered. Taking in the sight, he notes that there are actually fewer high-level mages than he originally expected. He decides to follow a pair of mages who are currently walking up the stairs toward the inner chambers. A viewer comments that while the lower levels are filled with regular folk, the floors above are where the real danger begins. He stealthily follows them into a narrow corridor, keeping his distance and staying out of their field of view. His chat is highly active, with viewers warning him that if he takes the wrong turn, he will set off the tower's alarm. Suddenly, a guard captain blocks his path, sternly declaring that this area is strictly off-limits. Seo Jun's eyes narrow as he prepares his weapon, muttering that a little intimidation should be enough to make the guard back off. In a flash of speed, he delivers a swift horizontal parry, redirecting the guard's spear with immense force. The guard is sent crashing to the floor, coughing in pain as his health bar is instantly depleted. The rest of the patrol squad spots him, their red-haired leader screaming that there is an intruder downstairs and to stop him at all costs. The guards charge down the stairs to engage him, their blades glowing with magical pressure. But Seo Jun simply stands his ground, a wide, competitive smile spreading across his face as they approach. He unleashes a barrage of rapid parries, his practice stick moving in a blinding blur of blue and white light. A powerful mage floating in the air unleashes a massive fiery blast, screaming that it is too late for the intruder. The massive explosion of fire engulfs the entire hallway, creating a blinding flash of red light. Seo Jun is caught in the center of the blast, his eyes sharp as he prepares to execute a parry against the magical spell.